And we are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicenda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP, and we're a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope and desire is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games and help amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways, but one of our favorite ways to do it is just sit down with folks and play their games. Today, we're actually playing a game that we are developing right now with Marcus Linderum, who can't be with us here today to run it, but Marcus has been on stream running it any number of times over the last little bit because it's funding on Gamefound right now. You can find the link for that right below all of our beautiful faces. It's ttrpg.link/DWGLive. It's also in the description if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook. And I'll drop it in the chat on Twitch a little bit later. We are doing this as a evening stream in the Philippines, Malaysia, and the Southeast Asian region, and we are doing this as a morning stream for the Brazil community as well as for the East Coast U.S. And the rest of the U.S. community. So wherever you're at watching right now, we're super excited to have you with us. Let us know in the chat where you're watching from, who you are, and let's meet some of the other folks we're playing with. I think I have everybody's names faces above the right names, but if I don't, at some point someone let me know. I'll move things around if you're out there watching right now, but let's go ahead and meet a couple of our contributors first. Let's start with Sam. Sam, tell people who you are, what you do, and where they can find you online.
Hi, my name is Sam. I'm a game designer from Malaysia. Let's see. You can find me on Twitter, where I'm currently. I've recently posted a new update for my game Capital Lite. So if you ever want to play messy Asian young adults living in the city, slice of life stuff, Capital Lite is your game.
Awesome. And then let's pop up to BJ. BJ, tell people who you... Actually, sorry. Sam, tell us one more thing. Sam, tell us what part of Down We Go you're contributing to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm doing the events and holidays. Everything from grim to grim and formal to whimsical and informal. So there's a whole mess of stuff there. It's great.
Awesome. Yeah. And we're going to get to play with one of those today, so I'm super excited to use that as part of our adventure for today's session also, too. But let's pop up to BJ. BJ, tell people who you are, what you do, where folks can find you online, and also tell us how you're contributing to Down We Go also.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I am BJ. That's short for Buko Juice. And you can find me at bukojuice.games online. You can also find me at itch.io/bukojuicerpg, if I'm not mistaken. I might actually be mistaken. I haven't checked it in a while because I haven't released anything new in a while. You probably know me best for some relationship with chickens because I have created a system agnostic module called Kakamania, which is available on itch right now. Currently in the process of updating that. What else? You probably also know me as a researcher, writer, and game designer for the Islands of Sinauna, where I contributed quite a lot. Most of the monsters are there. Most of the monsters there came from me. And then, speaking of which, in Down We Go, I am contributing a spread of monsters to expand the bestiary for the product.
Awesome.
And there. I am from the Philippines, by the way. There you go.
Love it. Let's hop over to any award-winning game designer, Diogo. Diogo, tell people who you are, what you do. Tell us about Halls of the Blood King also, too, and what it's like to be an Emmy award-winning designer.
Hey, everyone. My name is Diogo Nogueira. I'm from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. It's like 8 a.m. here, 8:30 or something. I was up until like 4 a.m. excited about having won the Best Adventure Gold any award for House of the Blood King, the adventure I wrote for Old School Essentials. And I'm super excited to be here and play Down and Go. It's like a great old school inspired game, but has a lot of new stuff and is doing great things with adventure, like generation and fast play. Like you can improvise a lot of things. And it's really my kind of gaming. So and it was incredible to win because I couldn't believe it because for me like I was running against giants, you know, like Free League and Ben Milton, which I mean I'm a really big fan of both Free League and Ben, and being able to win that award and being from Brazil, you know, it's like wow, mind blown, you know, and I really thank all the community that supported me and my friends from RPGC and the Brazilian community I know was really engaged in that and we're kind of known for sticking together on the internet. Like you mess with a Brazilian, so a lot of Brazilians go there and do something or I don't know. And then since I was nominated, there was really this movement here to support me, and I'm really grateful for that.
Awesome, love it. I voted for it. It's one of a couple of items that I voted for that won. I was super excited to see. I'm a big fan of it, also too, and I love one of your notes at some point in time when I think somebody was asking you a question about like a couple of the things you can encounter that basically could take you into an entirely different range of adventures that are further in, and we won't spoiler. You should go out and get the book and do it. But I loved your answer of like, I don't know, I didn't write anything more about those. You just got to figure it out if you accidentally end up in one of those spots. Which I love, and I love exploring those open spaces with players. Also, speaking of future award-winning adventures you're going to be writing, tell us about what you're contributing to Down We Go.
I'm working on a like a dungeon toolkit for a museum of like a collector of something specific, and you can generate what this collector collects at this time. And it could be like skulls, like we're talking about. Why I named my publishing like Old Skull could be like a collector of skulls. So it's a museum for all kinds of different skulls, or maybe like the eyes of people or creatures that saw something special, or maybe something else, like maybe collector of memories, so they steal memories from someone and store it there somehow. It's gonna be like a weird museum that's someone that collects something very specific, and you might be there to recover one of these items, or you know, just exploring what was left in the abandoned museum.
I love it. I can't wait to see what you do with Down We Go, and can't wait for other people to get a chance to experience that also. And then last but not least, we've got joining us Zedeck. Zedeck, tell people who you are, what you do, and where they can find you online.
Hi, I'm Zedeck. You can find me at 1000islands.com. Go to the website and click on the little roach emoji. But yeah, I'm a writer and game designer, and strangely, I mean, I'm the only person in the group tonight who hasn't been a contributor to Down We Go, so this game is all fresh for me, so I'm excited.
Awesome. Yeah, I was telling Zedeck right beforehand, I don't think any of our other contributors have played. That was actually one of our big efforts, was for us to make sure all of them had a chance to play at some point during the campaign while they were in the middle of writing stuff also too. So I'm super excited to kind of take you all through it. And just so you know, Zedeck, we do have an open third-party license, so if you want to
yeah,
some Down We Go into Thousand Islands at some point in time also too. So with that said, Down We Go is a rules light, old school flavored RPG. There's a huge focus on dungeon crawling in the
Sorry, Gabe.
Tony, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, Tony, you're mute.
So is this weird, fun, lovely thing that Google Hangouts does, where it'll turn off my mic, but my mic won't be turned off to everybody else, so they can still hear me, but y'all, it might cut out for y'all sporadically. And we have it's an update that happened a little while ago, and we just don't know why it happens. It's fun, it's an old school style RPG, so there's a focus on dungeon diving. With that said, we always like to play with safety tools here in place on the channel, so we use lines, veils, and the X card unless the system suggests otherwise. Lines are things that may happen in the world of our game, but don't happen in the course of our game. Veils are things that may happen in our game, but we'll handle them delicately, or we won't go into too much detail about them. And then X is the ability for anybody to say, X, pause things, identify what the issue is. It could be, hey, I'm confused about this, or anything else. It could be about something that's objectionable or that's an issue for them. We'll just ask enough. The only questions we ask are, what is it, so that we can figure out what it is and then move forward in a different direction. So if they just say X and then here's what the item is, we'll just move forward in a different direction without that involved. We have a strong line against sexual violence here on the channel. I will say for the adventure, we're going to deal with, because of the event that it's happening around, we are going to deal with the past death of loved ones. Or hated ones. We also are going to deal with the with darkness, with tight spaces, because you are going down into a sewer. All things associated with being in sewers also too. I'm not a particularly gruesome GM. I'm not above describing, somebody like sticking a knife in between two vertebrae and popping a skull off, but I don't typically go into explicit detail about anything that's hanging out of the spinal column or anything like that. But do you have any lines or veils that you want to add, or anything you just want me to be mindful of as we're going through the dungeon? Cool. If anything comes up, let me know. Also, feel free to message me over on Twitter if there's something you don't feel comfortable saying in front of people. And let me pop that up in the background right now so that I have that available if somebody needs to reach out to me privately about something. With that said, do you have any questions before we get started? Cool. Cool, Sam. Sam's going to hop off and come right back because I have a couple connection issues, which means we're going to look weird on the screen for just 1 second, but we'll get that resolved. I'm going to tell everybody else while we're doing that, if you want... Oh, no, I have to move everyone around, Sam.
Oh, no.
I forgot. I didn't forget about that aspect of it. Let me do that real quick. While I'm doing that, if y'all want to, go ahead and take an extra level wherever you want to on your sheet, as if you had leveled up one time. We'll say this is not your first time working together, and I'll just ask y'all a couple questions in exchange for that additional level about your first bit of time together. Establish a little bit of backstory.
I actually have a question now suddenly.
Yeah.
So I currently have 2 roles. So if I level up in one role, I'll be at level 2 on that role. When I roll D20 plus level, do I just choose the highest one, or do?
It'll matter based on what you're trying to do. So each of the roles basically, so there are 4 roles that essentially serve as like archetypes in Down We Go for anybody who's out there watching. They also kind of function as a hybrid of stats and skills and a number of other things kind of fused into one set of bonuses. So like if you're rolling to hit, you're going to make a bloodthirsty roll. Bloodthirsty replaces a lot of what would typically be strength or constitution in traditional tabletop role-playing games. So when you're trying to hit, that's your plus hit bonus. But it also might help you resist things like poison or infection or other things that are very physically oriented. Sneaky is going to be your kind of classic dexterity with a little bit of constitution mixed in roll, where you would use it whenever you want to do something nimble or dexterous, or generally kind of thiefy or roguey. But it's also going to give you your defense bonus. So it's going to give you +1 anytime you're trying to dodge. Those are the 2 most common rolls that you'll make in combat, are going to be sneaky or bloodthirsty rolls. The other thing that Sneaky does is, like, if you're dodging a mechanical trap or a projectile or other things like that, you might save versus Sneaky. For Mystical, it's against magical things, so it basically covers knowledge or intellect and a little bit of wisdom, along with general, like, kind of mage or magic user skills. And the abilities you unlock kind of represent training in each of those different areas. Sometimes I might have you make a D6 roll because it's a little bit more of a luck thing, with bonuses based on levels you have or things you've done to prepare, other pieces like that. But most of the time it's going to be D20 plus the appropriate stat whenever you're going to make a save or whenever you're going to do something. But abilities will automatically hit. So you have a certain number of uses per day. So if you have 2 levels in a skill, then you are basically going to be able to use, or in a role, you're going to be able to use each of the abilities that you've unlocked, the 2 that you've unlocked, twice in the course of a given day within the narrative of the game. So as you level up, you actually are kind of exponentially leveling up how many times you can do the abilities and skills you have. Doesn't mean you won't be able to roll for them or you can't luck into them still happening. It's just those are guaranteed automatic successes that represent you being fresh and having knowledge about the adventure that you're currently encountering. So that's kind of how all that stuff works. It's a deep dive into the systems.
Once per day per level, we have like a automatic success on this text.
Once per levels per day. So if you've got, let me look at somebody's character sheet for a specific example, which apparently I left over on the other side of things, but that's okay. Too many screens at the same time. Here we go. All right, so if we look at Erden's character, Diogo's character, you guys 3 in sneaky, right? So currently, that means Diogo, you can backstab 3 times, you can lockpick 3 times, and you can hide 3 times without having to roll. Like it'll just automatically happen. Now, again, after you use those 3, if you're like, I want to hide, well, you're a sneaky character, and you have training in that area. So you're still going to be pretty good at that. So you'll just make a D20 roll to see if those things happen. But they will take more time. They won't happen as quickly. You're going to be more tired at that point in time.
Cool, yeah.
Where if somebody else is like, I want to try to hide, I'd say, cool, do you have any levels in sneaky? They might have 1. I'd say, okay, so you're going to have like a 2 in 6 chance of actually sneaky.
So
right?
a little bit like Gumshoe, right?
Yeah, a little bit like Gumshoe, some Gumshoe aspects mixed in there. But it also just keeps things moving really quickly because you know what you do. And it makes ability management and item management kind of co-equal, and down we go as far as kind of some of the old school mindsets. And think about using them creatively. Like if you've got a pitch for how you think this works, that's great. What does it look like specifically when it goes off? That's all on you. You tell me what your smite or your pain bolt looks like, or what it looks as you cleave through as you cleave through 2 enemies. That's all up to y'all as you play through the game. So when everybody went up to a 3rd level, you probably got an extra hit point also too, because that's just part of the advancement process. But your character sheet should have automatically taken that into account and bumped that up as well. It's the character keeper we're using is by Ty, which is an absolutely great resource. I'll pop it up here on the screen real quick so that other people can see what we're seeing. But yeah, it's a really useful tool for the back end. So. Again, if you want to, you go to ttrpg.link/DWGLive to back the game right now on Gamefound. Any other questions? Cool. All right, so y'all, we are going to be going into the Dark Sewers, which is an adventure, a dungeon that was written by Jorgen, who is one of Marcus's friends and one of the early playtesters for Down We Go. It's my first time running the sewers for anyone, though it is one of my favorite things because there's this procedural generation process for the sewers. So every single time you go down into the sewers, it's a completely different experience, and they did a really phenomenal job laying that out. So I've already written out my sewer map based on that process, though it's pretty easy to do on the fly. It's not the adjective, which is dark. So a lot of
he's muted again.
You got muted again.
I rolled the adjective in advance for it, so that's where we get the dark sewers from. However, I had Sam roll a D10 right before we went live because we are going to have an event that's taking place. The event that's taking place is excellent. It's the Deathlight Feast. So the squalid and cyclopean eye of death herself opens up in the night sky, casting the rooftops and alleyways of the city in bloody crimson glow. When this happens, Death's realm crosses over, allowing ghosts to walk about the city as if they were still alive. In anticipation of this, residents prepare special dishes and desserts to beckon to the dead, both to honor their life and to invite them to converse over food. We'll get into how that affects the adventure in a little bit, but I want each of you to think about, to roll 1d6 for me, and we're going to find out who from your past life you've met, and I want to hear from you who they are, what dish you've created for them. So, Diogo, you got a 1. It's going to be someone from your past. Zedeck, you've got a 2. It's someone you used to love. BJ got a 6. I couldn't count there for a second. I was like, 7. How did you do that? Someone you killed. Someone you killed, BJ. And then Sam, what did you get? 3.
Someone took care of me.
Someone took. Well, look at you, who already has the list in front of them. Someone who took care of you. So each of you are going to encounter that person. Before we go on our adventure, or if you're like, I need more time to think about this, maybe in the middle of our adventure. But if you have an idea for who that person was, tell me what meal or gift your character has for them, and what the story was between the two of you, and why you want to, why you what it looks like as you bump into them.
It's like someone that has died, or someone that just
this is the ghost of someone. Yeah. So so Diogo, what was yours? Was it someone from your past?
Yeah, it was like another rogue that was like I was friends with and partnered with, but who decided to become clean, but was betrayed by like the officers of the city or something, for a scheme they had going on inside the authorities.
Love it. And what food? What gift or food are you offering them in order to entice them to come visit you this evening?
Fried yams with like a spicy sweet sauce over it.
Love it. Awesome. Who else has
it's
one?
Something we use it to eat because it's cheap and it's tasty. And after we did like jobs, we'd share like fried yams.
It was the post job meal. Love
yeah.
It. Who's next? Who else has one?
I can go. The ghost I'm expecting or hoping to see tonight is Caltrop, my partner, who we used to do jobs together, like stealing stuff, like pickpocketing people, and like going into the sewers and like finding like back entrances into vaults and stuff. And I never really knew what happened to him. And I prepared both rat-flavored glass noodles.
Did you say rat-flavored glass noodles?
Yeah.
Awesome. I love
because rats are delicious.
Rats are delicious. Excellent. Sam, BJ, did y'all figure out who's visiting you?
I got one. Oh, you can go first.
Okay. Well, mine would be my former master whom I killed, because this is part of the tradition of our mystic arts. There should always only be one person who is a master of our mystic arts, and the only way to do that, of course, is to kill your master. Now the thing is, after that, the spirit of the masters are supposed to be guiding me towards my self-actualization as a master myself. However, he has not shown up yet, actually.
Oh.
So now I am looking for him. Now I'm looking for his ghost. His ghost is supposed to be here by now. Damn it!
I love it. Sam?
Hi. All right. So my ghost is my former teammate, whose name is Leah. Basically, what we used to be is it was my former adventurers guild. We used to go out and raid the dungeons and all that together. But after Leah's death, everybody sort of like grew apart. Everybody grew cold from each other. And so yeah, this is the one time I get to experience, sort of like taste the good old days again. I do it by leaving a pot of honey, because honey is easy to preserve. It's useful in the dungeon. In fact, I'm gonna put down a jar of honey under my gear, because I think that's a good idea. You get to use it to stick stuff together. It's a good food. It's a good preservative. Yeah, and that's what we used to eat in the dungeon when we needed strength.
Oh, that reminds me. I did it. I forgot to mention my food.
BJ, tell us about the food.
Yeah, my food would be grilled snake.
Ooh.
It's the same type of snake, not the exact snake, but the same type of snake whose poison I used to kill my master.
Ooh.
So good.
Oh my goodness.
Awesome. You can add some snake poison to your inventory if you want to. I'm 100% down that you got while preparing that meal. That sounds great. So here's two more questions I have. Anybody can answer them. What other traditions are practiced, which we can have numerous answers for, and then what happens when a ghost wishes to defy death and stay on?
I feel like a ghost who wishes to defy death and stay on, the longer they stay, the more of themselves they lose.
Ooh.
So they become more and more feral or something like that.
Maybe they haunt the city or the sewers, feral ghosts.
Feral
Yeah,
ghosts.
maybe they started getting attached too much to the material plane and start losing their spirituality somehow.
Okay. We're also looking for other traditions during this festival, right?
Yeah.
And I suggest that the ghosts, if depending on whether the person allows them to, are able to physically possess like living people. So I'm assuming that they are usually incorporeal as they sort of wander the city and like encounter people. But if they want to, they also can inhabit like flesh if the person agrees.
Love that.
So you can eat. Yeah.
No, I love it. It's like
it tastes better if they inhabit like living flesh or something.
Like you can essentially eat the meal together, right? So you can sit and talk, and then they could take over your body, and you could actually eat the meal at the same That's a very, I love that flavor. All right. If you think of other traditions that come up during the course of the campaign, I think that's great. I also love that BJ's master has not shown up yet. Zedeck, remind me of the name of is it Caltrip, the name of your past partner?
Yes, because it's caltrops and ball bearings.
Yeah, I love it. So as you and Caltrip are talking and going through your time together, they keep on kind of hinting at this place in the sewers where even the ghosts won't go. You've been through the sewers with Caltrip, like you mentioned, numerous times, and you've had plenty of adventures there. And there were always sections of the sewer. I mean, just like everything else in Infinopolis, the sewers shift and change as you go down also. But even with that, there are certain parts of the sewers that you just didn't go, but they tell you where the entry place is to this, and kind of it's just kind of this subtle hint of not like a direct ask, will you go check this out, but it's been a problem for them. But what is the entry point to these sewers? Like, what is it located near or under?
Is it like a specific so does it have to be an entrance to the sewers from the city itself, or like is it?
It can be either in the city or around the city. Either way, it's nearby though. But you get to pick the landscape, the landmark that it's connected to.
I would say it's near like the docks. Or no?
Yeah, that works.
What'd you say, Diogo?
I would say maybe it's near like the docks, and it's like a passage used by smugglers or something.
Oh, interesting. That sounds cool. Zedeck, what at the docks lets you, like, what marks it at the docks? Like, what's the space that smugglers use to mark this so that they can tell what it is, but not everybody else knows?
Can I have it so that it's somehow connected to Diogo's character?
Yeah, absolutely.
In that, like, maybe it's something to do with, like you mentioned before, that you, like, the person you're expecting tonight is was betrayed by the city guard or something. So what what they were doing was somehow involved with this smuggler sort of entrance.
I love that. Yeah. So Diogo, what helps mark that? Was this the location where your friend was killed?
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. Maybe he was looking too much in the corrupt authorities' business, and they set him up to be killed by smugglers or.
Cool. So y'all have become aware of this kind of a location, of this place that for all the ghosts that have appeared so far, they kind of gently like mention this sewer that there's hints of treasure there. There's hints of smugglers' goods that are stored down there. What else, Sam? What does your ghost tell you they think might be lurking down in the dark?
Something worse than feral ghosts. Something which is capable of the reason why ghosts are afraid to go down there is because it can either eat or destroy specters. So it's also a threat if you die. Let's say you die in the sewers, you die for real. You don't come back. You die.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
in that particular place.
In that particular place, excellent. And then BJ, at one point your master told you about something particularly powerful that was down in the sewers. What did they tell you was down there?
Well, he did tell me. They did tell me that they were kind of vague about it. To be honest, they just wanted to tell me that it is something that can. Wait, I'm trying to improv my way out of this. I don't quite know.
You can also open it up to the table. You can ask other people questions. You can ask questions back. It's not you're not stuck with it.
All right. So currently, what I have is that pretty sure my master, back before I killed him, has warned me about this place. Because there's something sinister there. One of our traditions abilities is that we can talk to the gods, and sometimes it is of interest to us to consult the god here. So in my understanding of it is that it is a god of some sort, but it is not necessarily a benevolent god. But it will answer my question if I use my magic on it.
Interesting. Love it. All right. So
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Is that like sort of like point of order questions? Like, do we all know each other currently?
Yeah.
And if so,
go ahead.
Okay. So I'm going to ask BJ's character, Dula. So Dula, this god that's inhabiting this place in the sewers, which even the ghosts avoid, is the fear that the ghosts feel, or like this new sort of mounting dread or danger, is that a new thing, or has that always been part of that this place?
Both yes and no. It has always been here, but we've never really discussed it with others. We've always known that it was here.
Right.
So in a sense, it has just arrived here because news of it has just arrived to people, but we've always known. Dula is
So the
basically
secret
lying
is-
his ass off. He has no idea.
Well, we don't know that, so it's like, oh, so the secret is
Yes.
is coming out to people now. Like, it used to be only the people in the know who knew this.
Yeah, it does like even as y'all are walking down the streets, like because a lot of y'all have a kind of a sneaker thing, you've got really good situational awareness, you kind of hear like snippets of and pieces of conversations that you catch between people as they talk to their visitors on this holiday of similar rumors that have been kind of floating around the city in different circles. And so it seems to be, this information seems to be spreading and becoming something people are more aware of. But yeah, most people don't seem to actually know how to get down there. That's the significant thing. And so for one shot sensibilities on stream, let's cut to the docks where y'all are standing near where Diogo lost this collaborator that he used to have, who was killed here by the city inquisitors. Diogo, again, tell me, I know that they were killed here and they were kind of snooping in. What do we see as the actual physical entry point into the sewer? Is it a drain? Is it a grate? Is it a spillway that's kind of coming out and pouring into the water? How do you actually physically get down into this section of the sewers?
Yeah, I think it's like a grated, a big sewage disposal into the water. But it's actually like there's like a lock and people can open it. Like some people have the keys or something.
Do you have the keys?
Yeah, sure. I guess I had it.
Okay.
Because we used to work with something here, but since I haven't been using it for like a long time since what happened to my friend, I had like put it away and it was hard to get it again and come back here.
Oh, it sounds like it's been a while, and this seems like the kind of thing
Yeah.
where a key might change regularly. Go ahead and make a D6 roll for me. We'll see if the key's changed or not. We'll start you off in the way I play. Like, I know how X and 6 works. I always play that higher rolls are better because that's how I like to play D6
Okay.
rolls. So higher is going to be better, but we're going to start out with 2 and 6. So if you roll a 5 or a 6, you have it. But you mentioned you already had a key, so there's a higher probability that this will work. So that's going to be 3. Is there anything else that might tilt the odds in your favor here?
Well, I elbow Erdin and say, "Here, you
No,
can make your
I
own
can
key."
expect the key not to work. So yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense. Like make things more complicated and appropriate, I guess.
Sure. So go ahead. At 4, 5, or
It's
6,
my-
it works. Lower, it doesn't.
Well, while he's working
Yeah.
the key, I'm like, I sense
I rolled it too.
death.
Yeah. But damn, my key. They have changed the key. Bastards.
I elbow Erdin again and say, "Don't you have those other keys?" And I look meaningfully at his backpack.
Yeah, I do. I have thieves too, so I can unlock it.
Cool. Do you have lock picking on your sheet?
Yeah, I have
You wanna-
thieves too, so
Cool. Do you want to
Can I
just go ahead
assume
and
that-
use the lock picking ability?
yeah.
All right. So
Sure.
go ahead and mark off 1 use. So like I said, because you're level 3, you started out with 3. Now you've got 2
Okay.
uses left.
I marked 1 here.
And so yeah.
Is it wise to use it like early in the game like this? Or-
I mean, I can't tell you that.
Use it now. Use it now.
Well, the way I see it, since we have since you can use it 3 times, yeah, that should be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
In my experience,
It's like so low stakes right now. I think I would just try to open it to the die roll. But yeah,
If you want to try to die
things
roll,
moving.
I'm 100% fine
no.
if you want to die roll it. I mean,
We can
Let's
always
skip
break
the
the
things
lock.
moving.
You
Yeah.
know?
the only thing about die rolling is at that point you're gonna run you'll roll I'll roll an encounter check because it just takes time, and so is the city guard gonna come by, do some other
That's
goons
just-
come by to somebody else,
okay.
like that's all you're risking because you have training in it. It's not a big deal though, and so yeah, you can roll a lockpicking roll absolutely.
No, yeah, I'm just skip things going. Okay.
So yeah, so you pull it out. It's you like notice like okay, whatever lock they used, almost the exact same design, just different enough to make it so the old key didn't work, and so you're able to get in there and pop the lock right away and slide the grate to the side. And you just kind of see below you this ladder descending into what looks like kind of lit in the reddish crimson light of, I keep on forgetting the name of the holiday, hold on real quick, of the Deathlight Feast, lit in the crimson light of the moon. You can kind of see down into that and see that it looks like it lands in water. The ladder ends in water that splits off in 4 different directions. What do y'all do?
I ask, so again, like are our ghosts that we were sort of fraternizing with tonight with us, and like as we prepare to get into
they were with you up until about a quarter mile ago, and then they all hesitantly but politely excused themselves. Not, y'all are busy, y'all obviously have a plan, we wouldn't want to interfere. And then in different levels of terror, absolutely did not want to come near this place.
My ex was kind of a bitch. Like he told me about this, and like he's not coming along with it. Damn you, Caltrop.
Well, we should be fine. We're not ghosts. Yeah.
Yet.
Okay.
Well, I haven't
Who
seen the
wants to
ghost
go
of my
first?
master for so long, so I'm not feeling FOMO or anything like that. Not at all.
I pet you on the shoulder. It's all right.
Do we
You know
see
I can
any-
talk to the gods, right? I don't need to talk to ghosts.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all right.
I'm not missing out.
No. It's yeah. No, yeah.
Can we see any signs or hear any noise coming from either direction? Or...
As you kind of pause and listen, you can hear all the late evening street noise up here. The docks aren't especially busy at night, but you do hear, gentle moaning in the distance, the snap of sails in the breeze, the gentle lapping of the waves against the docks, the briny smell of the ocean air, and the fetid, rotting aroma of fish all assault your senses on this level. As you kind of lean down closer, though, you hear only silence, and the area that's not directly lit by the opening of this grate seems darker than anything you've encountered, even in your time skulking through the shadows. It seems almost unnatural, as if the light is unwilling to penetrate it. And you hear silence. Even the water down below, which you would expect to typically be rippling with movement, seems still. And the only thing that you get as far as aroma is a somewhat acrid smell, like slightly acidic, coming up out of the depths.
I don't like the way this place smells. It's
What sort of acidic? Like, is it like
Is it
rotting
Paris?
acidic? Is it like
It's
what vinegary? Or...
Yeah, it's sterile on the edge of rotting. Like it's the acrid smell of rot without any of the biological flesh smell that accompanies it.
Oh, okay. How many knowers here do we have? Holy. Okay, just one. Dula, you have a 1 point in holy. What do you think?
are we carrying like light sources?
Did you write light sources on your sheet?
Yeah, I put a lantern. So
Awesome. Yeah, you got a lantern then.
All right.
I did not.
Uden has a lantern. That means he goes first.
But
Right,
it says it's
right.
eating up the light, though.
Is it eating the light? Like,
I mean, there's only
We
one way
won't
to
know
find
until
out.
it-
Yeah,
Yeah.
I light up the lantern. Does
I
does
think
it
I think the only way,
push
guys,
back
is
the
to
darkness
go
a
down.
little?
Yeah, he can go ahead. Odin can go ahead.
So you light up the lantern as you start your way down, and you get a sense of like the kind of warm light of your lantern replaces the red crimson glow, just the moonlight, and it does illuminate the area below better, but not much wider. It pushes out a little bit, and it almost seems like your lantern is burning higher than it normally does, but not penetrating the darkness as much as it normally does.
So
Okay.
so I look at Erden's lantern and I sort of ask him, like sort of check with him, like is it consuming fuel faster than usual?
I will go. Yeah, mechanically, I'll tell you. Yes, it's consuming fuel faster than normal.
Okay.
A lantern
So-
typically will last about 6 rooms in a dungeon, which is how we track long form time, is just by the spaces. So with this said, it looks like the amount of oil that you're consuming will only last you about 3 rooms, which is about what a torch would
So-
normally do.
So I have a power with the group and say like, okay, Erden has a lantern, I have a lantern. Let's be really careful here. So we've got 2 light sources. Can the group of us sort of function effectively with the single lantern?
Yeah, the 4 of you can absolutely be within the radius of the lantern. It goes out about 15 to 20 feet in any direction. Total, like it creates a radius of about 15 to 20 feet. So plenty of space for 4 people to move around and operate in, though it's a little tight. It doesn't penetrate much beyond that, though. Now, the sewers passageways themselves are only about 5 feet wide in the area that you're coming down into. It's the central meeting space where they kind of meet. It's a little bit wider, but you're only able to really walk one abreast here. But it'll still, from kind of depending on if you put it in one of the 2 middle positions, it'll still cover all of you and give you a little bit of light on each side.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I mean, if we don't go deeper, we'll never.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell anybody that they have to map, but I will say part of the interesting part about the sewers is out of all the dungeons, they are unique in the sense that it is actually hard. You can get lost here player-wise. So if somebody wants to map a little bit, it's not a bad idea.
I'm really terrible at mapping, but I do have graph papers.
Well, it's not a very complicated image that I've drawn also, too. So, but you've come down into the middle of an intersection, so you can go in any of the 4 directions, and we will just call up north, the right side of the sheet east, southwest, south, the bottom side south, and the other side west.
Are they coming from the south or?
You're coming in from above.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, you're coming in from above. And you can go in any direction.
Do we see any
relative to where we
differentiation?
are? Where is the sea? Because we're near the sea, right?
Yeah, so we'll put the sea over to the west and the city proper over to the east.
So the water is coming from the city into the ocean, from
Correct.
the east to the west?
Correct.
Okay.
Though it seems very still in this area.
Which direction is the smell coming from, or is it everywhere?
It seems to be fairly omnipresent.
All right.
As you splash down into the water, it's only a couple of feet deep, so it goes up to basically slightly below your knee. So fairly easy to maneuver in, but still, not enjoyable.
Oh, it's up to my waist or my chest then. I hate this. This is terrible.
Would you like to sit on my shoulders?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Is the
Ball bearing will
acidic
ride.
is the acidic scent does it give me the vibe that it might be flammable?
No, and usually that would be indicated by. It's a good question. Usually that would be indicated like you'll start to see the lanterns because they're not sealed. If that becomes an issue, you'll start to see those flames grow. And though it is a little bit bigger, it's not growing or crackling in the way that makes you think that. But it is something certainly worth keeping an eye on.
All right. Because I was thinking that's one possible reason why it's burning faster than normal, the lantern. But that's probably not it then.
Are the passageways in any way distinguished from each other?
They are not. They seem to be. I mean, like you can kind of discern different brick patterns and other stuff like that. Nothing easily memorable though.
I will follow my nose, my halfling nose, and my instincts. And I suggest that we push on north.
Okay. Everybody go ahead and make a D6 roll for me as you guys are heading north down the passageway. This is going to be normal. Like every time y'all move, you're essentially going to roll a D6 roll. I'm not.
I rolled another 6.
Okay.
Which probably means that I should change this die because it's always rolling 6.
And go ahead and tell me what order you are walking in. Did we have
me and ball bearing are probably in the same.
Okay.
I would think that our lantern person would be in front. I would advocate being in the rear, if only because I have a spear, and if something charges at us from behind, I can always just prop up the spear like so.
Okay, so we've got Erden in the front, Dula in the back, and we've got Yiji and ball bearing in the middle.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Is that right? All right. And there is you can reach up at that point, ball bearing, and like touch the ceiling almost. There's not that much more space above your head, just a few inches, but there is clearance for what y'all are doing. So,
Are these basically is it stone architecture? So basically, it's like stonework.
Stonework, and it's kind of rounded towards the top in the middle. So,
Question.
Yeah.
What's ball? This is probably going to be 4 ball bearing. I want to know what sort of fungus is growing in the sewer.
I look around myself. I search my own like mushroom knowledge, and I try to identify what funguses, if any, are growing down in this deep and dank place.
Well, here's the deal. I don't have an easy answer for that, but I'm happy to let BJ roll 2 more entries from the fungus book, and we'll add those down to the thing. I will say that you have heard about these large, colorful mushrooms that grow down here. That some people say, they're probably wrong, explode sometimes.
That sounds familiar.
That should deal extra hits.
Exploding mushrooms?
Do what?
So I rolled a mushroom called Willow's Beard. It lives in large colonies on live willow. It has the appearance of thin, fibrous stems. It has a mealy, mildewy flavor rather, and the aroma is like clean laundry.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah,
I think, as y'all are making your way down this path, you actually see a couple of patches of that hanging down like long willow tendrils, as you kind of come past them. And so, BJ, do you want to roll one more, and we'll put that in the list of things that mushrooms that may show up later also too.
So that mushroom, the earlier mushroom, was called Willow's Beard. So it does have a beardy quality to it.
I collect it and sort of hang it on me.
This will be fun to barbecue later.
Yeah, that's the only way we let mushrooms on stream is if they have a beard-like quality. So.
This one is called the Bloody Heart.
Oh, wow.
It is a firm, white-stemmed one that has an unassuming red-brown top, kind of like this one. Not sure if you can see it. It has the flavor of old socks and a similar aroma.
We haven't found any of those yet. but you keep an eye out for him. You've heard they're down here also too.
All right.
As you're kind of making your way forward, you feel something slither past your foot.
Who? Which one of us?
Erden does.
Okay.
Diogo.
I'm not sure.
As y'all walk about 5 feet further down, Diogo, you feel immense pain erupt from the back of your leg, and you take 2 hits of damage.
Whoa! What?
Whoa!
Two at once.
This is an adventurous league.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Can I see anything? What happened?
As you pull your leg out of the water, you see this giant pulsating swarm of leeches that have grabbed onto the back of your leg.
Wow. I get out of the water and take them out. I don't know.
You are kind of surrounded by y'all. The water goes all the way across in the section that y'all are in right now. It's a spillway, and so I mean you can post up on the wall if you want to, or if you want to do something particularly acrobatic, you can also.
Yeah, I'll try to climb the walls.
Okay, so you're gonna
maybe
push up on the
I
wall?
have iron pins and hope, and I can try to put it there so people can pass through it.
So we see, the rest of us see Erden react to this, right?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I have something called tactics, which gives adjacent friends +1 to hit.
Sure.
And how I'm thinking of describing it is there is sort of like a loose root or a pipe above, and my main weapon is a 10-foot long battle skipping rope, and I want to be able to hoist you up. Let you grab onto it and hoist you up, giving you a +1 to your to not dying because half your health is gone.
Yeah.
You
So
know.
you kind of hoist Diogo up out of Erden up out of the water, and they are kind of floating in the air while you guys can see these leeches kind of, and they actually seem to be swelling with the amount of blood that they are draining.
Wow. I take them out as soon as I can. Like.
So what weapon do you have?
I have a short sword and a short bow.
Great. Go ahead and make a to hit roll on your near your own leg. Just group these things off. So that's going to be a D20 plus any bloodthirsty you have.
Oh yeah. 15.
15. Yeah. So you swipe down, and there's 3 of them on there, and you just kind of cleave through 2 of them, and they kind of like their heads are still buried in your body. You can kind of see blood leaking out, but you can see one is still on there pulsating. Who else wants to try to help?
Am I close enough to because I'm perched on Yuji's shoulders, am I close enough to basically punch the remaining one off his calf?
Let's see. You pulled him up. If he is cooperating with you, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. So, I imagine he probably lifted his leg up to kind of swipe underneath, and that probably puts it right up near your face.
I'm gonna punch the leech. I roll a D20, right?
Yep.
And this is with my bloodthirsty.
Yep.
Come on, 13.
No, that you're fine. It's a collaborating partner and a stationary target. You do, but yeah, they're you smash it flat. Blood kind of erupts everywhere as you do that, along with leech bits. They after a couple of seconds, the heads of the leeches kind of retract from your flesh and fall out and fall down into the water below. But there apparently are leeches in this sewer.
Can I treat the injuries somehow? Like make bandage or something?
Do you have anything that would let you do that?
Or no?
So,
Did any one of us take
Yeah,
heal?
No.
it's a classic dungeon problem in Down We Go is nobody remembers to take heal because it is really the only way you get better in a dungeon for the most part.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what potions people brought with them also too, if any of those would be helpful or
Yeah.
not.
Does so like okay, like if we have time to take a powwow, like does honey
I think
help
it's
with
a-
like staunching wounds? Does wrapping that mushrooms that are just like the sort of fibrous mushrooms, does that count as like a
As far as just staunching the flow of blood, that's something that y'all can easily take care of between the different items you brought, the torn up fabric on the lower half of Diego. What was on the lower half of your leg? What did these guys slide up underneath?
I was hoping I was wearing like boots and
Okay.
like
So
pants. I guess.
so above
like
your boots
leather
and
pants.
like
I
your
have
pants, like
leather
they're
armor.
like one of them tore through, the other one's kind of slid up. Like there's a hole. It's pretty easy to kind of take your frayed pant leg on that side and kind of just tourniquet it down and use it to kind of just staunch the flow of blood without much trouble.
Okay.
I am never. I say I'm not gonna step
I'm
foot
gonna
in the
die.
sewer because I've got bare feet, bare halfway feet.
Is there a way we can
Can we see
traverse
any?
this,
Yeah.
the sewer without stepping into the water? Or is it just all water?
In this section,
Everywhere.
it's a spillway every single way you go. You know, as you look around, like again, the water is it's not deep if you're not a halfling. You know, I mean, and one of you is very safe because they're 4 feet above the water, or 3 feet above the water. But for the rest of you, yeah, I mean, a couple options might be, stick something in the water in front of you to kind of feel your way through and make sure there's nothing there. Move your light down closer to the water. I mean, there are ways you can kind of help be aware of things moving around down there that you might need to react to.
I pass Erden my pole because I've got like a
Cool.
long ass pole, I guess.
Awesome. So Erden, you get past this kind of 10-foot, or I don't know if it's a halfling size pole or a human size pole. So either 5 or 10-foot pole, somewhere in that range that you can kind of use to feel around in the water in front of you, for future encounters.
Can I just climb the walls like horizontally to just go passing by it?
Do you have acrobatics?
Is that acrobatics? I mean, I thought like climbing something.
No, I mean, like, if I'm just saying. So here's what I'll say: if you want to use acrobatics, I'll let you not like. It'll be easy.
I don't have it.
Okay, that's fine. No, but if you want to just try to post up and walk that way, you can absolutely do that also too. Like, it's just going to take a long time and be kind of exhausting to do.
Yeah, I think I'll feel safer doing that. Yeah.
Okay. So you're kind of making your way from above now, posted out on the walls, looking down below you. You get to a teed out intersection as you head north. It's about 50 feet down. You kind of come up on this tee after you got encountered. So about 100 feet after you entered the sewers. And
Okay.
It goes east or west.
And everybody else just got through the water.
Yeah.
Are we all testing for like acrobatics to like cling to the walls? Or?
If you're clinging to the walls, you don't know. No one needs to. It's just taking y'all a long time. It's very physically exhausting. If you're walking normally, it's not.
Oh, BJ, I don't think we can hear you.
Yeah.
I see your lips moving. Yeah, nothing.
How about now?
Yep.
Yay!
Yeah. Now yes.
All right.
Oh. So I feel like it's a bit of a risk to just move through this normally. So I suppose the best way is to just poke at the surroundings with my spear.
Sure.
Make sure that if they're how big are these leeches? Are they like
It's hard to know because they were swelling as you saw them, but
Ooh.
it looked like they were probably at least plum size. And by the time y'all took care of them, they were between like navel orange and grapefruit size.
They were fist-sized.
So yeah, fist like a little bit bigger than your fist by the time they did, about a halfling fist size when they started.
Did we
I'd say-
manage to? Sorry.
I feel like what I will do is I will take out my scroll of communication
Okay.
and I will use the magic inherent in the scroll and then press it against my tongue and then go, leeches, honored leeches, gods of the water. May you grant us safe passage.
Man, I love this. You hear a 1,000 voices like respond to you, and you get a sense of like these are coming from everywhere, right? But they almost speak with one like voice, and it kind of forms into what sounds like a hissing, squealing tone as you hear. What offering do you bring us besides yourselves?
Right, they're asking for an offering, friends.
They probably just want blood. Yeah.
We are so hungry.
I have a potion of fruit flavored intoxication. Have they
I
tried
know
alcohol?
we're throwing all these away now.
We have no choice. I don't want to die.
Yeah,
Last
because
time
I don't think we can kill them like just like that. If there's like
That's
so
so
many of them.
You know.
You get how much poison? How much of that snake poison do you have?
Oh, well, let's befriend them. We shouldn't kill them. Come on.
I've thought about it, but also we're already using the scroll of communication. So I think what we can do is, do we have anything meaty?
I have pork belly.
I have rations, but
And you can you can flavor those rations however
maybe
you
it's
want them.
yeah, beef jerky. I don't know.
So
Well, I guess
go ahead.
we
Can I
offer something.
flavor my mushroom rations and switch it to rat rations instead because I had rat noodles, right?
Rat
So,
rat
can I say
rations meaning rations of rat flesh, not rations for rats.
Yes.
Just making sure.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
So they're not cooked yet. They were just hanging off my like belt or whatever.
We offer
So
these
they-
smoked rat. I say it has a
No,
very...
so it's
Rat
fresh.
jerky.
Yeah.
But
It
here's
was
the thing,
fresh
though.
Oh, it's fresh rat. We offer this
Oh,
fresh
fresh
rat.
rat.
Just pick it up one.
We've already skinned it for you, honored guests, honored hosts.
Wait, so these leeches eat meat as well?
I think so.
Oh.
This will hold us for a time. However, we may require more sustenance later.
That is understood, honored hosts. We
Well-
will seek more for your benefit before we return. We need another offering when we pass by later, guys.
If push comes to shove, I've got another unit of rations. So
And you didn't by the way, when I say thousands, you didn't get a sense that like that's 1,000 right here. It's like you connected to
Everywhere,
in this very large area of sewer that you're in. There were it sounded like there were 1,000 of them speaking to you, not in this hallway. And so you had a sense of kind of that reaching out,
Right. All right.
largely around you. So I mean, like y'all are in this general area for the time being, relatively safe from leeches at least. And so, but you've reached this T. Which direction do you want to head?
Ask the leeches.
Do we see down either like path?
You can you can actually see, you can't, nothing specifically in the intermediary distance, but it actually does look like there is some sort of distant faint light about 150 yards, sorry, 150 feet to the west, and you can't see what is to the east. It's dark, it's just dark over there.
Light towards the city, in the direction of the city, and darkness towards in the direction of the sea.
Other way around.
Other way around. Yeah.
Oh.
East is city, west is sea.
Oh shit! Okay, sorry. I am a crap mapper.
I had the other way around too, like Zedeck.
So the way I see it, it's if we are seeking the god, the god will probably be closer to the sea, if only because it's still a natural entity, and it will probably be closer towards the natural feature as opposed to the city, which is probably more godless, right? That's the way I see it, at least.
Depends of the god, I guess, right? If like,
it might depend on the god.
Yeah.
But Dula is pretty much talking out of his ass. So
Wait, don't you have divination?
yes, but
okay,
I
so
can ask the gods, but I try to not do that too much. Also, I only have one level and holy, and I think that means I can only use it once. Do I understand that correctly? Yeah.
Yep.
Dula, I'm confused. Aren't we going to see the god of leeches?
It's the god that supposedly eats spirits, ghosts. Probably not a leech god.
Oh, so there are two gods here. Oh, wow.
There are gods everywhere, my friend.
Everyone's a god. Like you're the god of yourself.
So you can either east or west.
So what I'm saying is, it depends on whether we're trying to meet this god. If we're trying to meet this god, the last educated guess is west.
Okay. Can someone take?
If we're trying to avoid the god
and go ahead, because I have already had like an unpleasant encounter here. So
I can Ballberry will volunteer to take the lantern from you. But Ballberry will continue riding on.
Yeah, I'm good with that. All
right. I will continue being in the rear if that's okay with everyone.
Yeah, hopefully we don't get attacked from the rear. Yeah.
Everybody roll. No, I'm just kidding. Y'all, as you kind of make your way to the west, correct? Towards the light. As you make your way towards that kind of distant light, again, you can't really see anything intermediary. All of a sudden, you can kind of feel the space opening up around you, and you all of a sudden find yourself in what seems to be about a 25-foot by 30-foot kind of wide opening. The water kind of stops off. You can hear dripping in the distance very lightly, though it's still very silent in here. And you step onto dry ground. Around you, kind of close by, you see just what looks like piles of filth. There's like dirty clothes, blankets, containers of spoiled food sitting all around, and you hear like a yapping noise over in the far corner of the room where the light doesn't quite penetrate, and you can see that in that far corner there's like a smoldering, dying fire. Who's in the lead right now? Roll a d6 for me and tell me what you get. 2. And you hear like a coughing noise coming from that back corner also too.
So there is a light there where the noise is coming from.
Yes, like I said, it's a low smoldering fire.
It's like a human cough or something weirder.
It sounded very human. But you, like I said, you do hear kind of like yapping and barking in the other corner also too.
He has a dog. So that's cool.
Also, the yapping and the coughing are from the same corner, or are they?
They are
separate?
both from the far side of the room. One is
Okay.
from the west side corner. One is from the east side corner.
I see.
All of a sudden, the yapping you hear turns into a low growling.
Ugh.
Oh, he has a dog. It's so cute.
Does the lantern shine lights on anything we can see? Like, can we see
You're
any
not
shape
quite
at
you're not
least?
quite close enough to it yet for it to be illuminated. They're really, like I said, it's actually it seems preternatural how how sharply the lantern light fades as it kind of cuts off. Just really like you need another 5 to 10 feet in to illuminate the back side of the room.
Okay.
I take out my pork belly and I walk forward.
Okay.
The pork belly should appease the dog.
Sure.
It's a dog.
As you're getting closer, you actually hear like what sounds like multiple snarling noises coming from that corner. Do you?
I
do
draw
you-
my bow.
Do you have the light source with you, or are you stepping into the dark?
I hold it out above Yiji's head.
Okay, so you've got the lantern. That's fine. So yeah, it moves as you move in the way. You see a kind of a shifting mound of cloth over in the corner near the fire, and you see what looks almost like a small lizardish looking dog. So it's kind of scaly. It does have matted little bits of fur, but it looks like a mix between a human. And there's 3 of them tied up, and there is a large swarm of rats that look like they're coming in a crack next to the wall that they are snarling and starting to bat at.
More rations.
Yummy. Yeah. Wait. So that.
We
So
do
they-
need to feed the leeches later. If we're gonna go past through that area.
So the dogs are tied up. So they are clearly like, maybe they're somebody's pets. So I sort of peer at the. Once I register that, I peer at the mound of clothes and try to see who it is. Is the coughing coming from this mound of like clothes?
It's the same area, that whatever this mound of like fabric and clothes is in the corner of the soil. It looks like it may be a human huddled up back there near this fire for warmth and light.
I'm gonna cry out saying, "Hail, greetings, hermit."
Who's there? Who's there?
We are. I don't know what we call ourselves.
What do we call ourselves?
We are travelers, and we are here
We're
to
inspection workers. We're inspection
Yeah,
workers.
like sewer
Seeing
inspection.
if the sewers are according
Yes,
to the
that's who we are.
specifications, the city mandate.
I already paid my fees to the Sewer Guild this month. I'm not paying for another inspection pass.
There's a sewer.
Yeah, I
guild,
know.
right?
It's a silly new law. You have to make like random inspections. I know you understand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not paying another bribe. I can't yet. I don't have enough money.
He doesn't
Well,
look
we
like he
can
has
put
money.
it on your tab. On
You
your
aren't
bribe
due
tab.
for another 2 weeks. I'm not paying for another 2 weeks.
2 weeks have already passed.
Those rats are starting to like encroach closer and closer to those dogs. They've killed a few of them, but it looks like they're starting to get a little overwhelmed. And you can hear that it's starting to ferment into louder and louder noises. Like, what are y'all doing to my dogs?
I
Isn't
see
that
you have
like a
like
health violation?
yeah, that's
this
a health
rat's here?
violation right there. But we can help you with that. I mean,
I mean,
We're here to
I
serve
found
the
him down
public, yeah.
here. I found him down here. I fed him. They're mine.
The dogs or the
the
rats?
rats or the dogs?
Yes, but the dogs.
Well, it looks like they're getting attacked by rats.
Yeah.
All right, look, I don't have my full bribe worked up, but I can give you like 50 coin if you can help take care of that real quick.
We will take
That-
50
yeah.
coin and the location of of the god that is eating the ghosts.
What? I've never seen a ghost down here.
Or maybe that's you.
That's why I sleep in this part of the sewer. I don't,
Okay, so they don't.
you take care of the rats. I'll tell you what I know.
Okay.
Okay. Let's take care of the rats.
Let's get the rations first.
There's now like a set of like 20 rats that you can see like have spilled out into the area that have just kind of surrounded the dogs. These are slightly larger than the rats that you had around your belt, but they are like you can tell one of the dogs has been wounded by one of these, and they seem to be kind of piling onto it. While the other
Wait, where the rats spilling out from?
There's a big crack in the wall.
If we seal the crack, maybe.
There's more rats coming?
There's a couple more coming out, but it looks like most of them have made it into the room at this point in time.
Okay. So are they all like in the clump?
Yeah, they've all surrounded like this one dog that's kind of injured, while the other two dogs are kind of ratting at some of them. There's dead rat bodies on the ground all over the place, but they have injured one of these small crypt dogs also.
I have a mystic power called Wall.
Okay.
Is it possible for me to raise an impenetrable wall of, I don't know, caltrops, so that and in such a way that I can basically spear or like impale a bunch of these rats?
Sure. Like you wanted to basically almost do like a spiral wall right underneath where they are with spikes on the top.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Or that'll just slam them into the ceiling, because it's certainly low enough that you could do that too. So, absolutely. So tell me what it looks like as this wall erupts from the ground and smashes.
I guess it because the spell says like it's of the material of my choice. I think so. It makes sense for it to be like stone. I guess the sort of cobblestone of the sewer, and I basically get a bunch of squash rats.
Yeah. So you watch is like 13 of these rats get just like slammed against the ceiling, and all of a sudden there's this column in the middle of the room that is and you watch as like fur and blood and viscera just kind of like pound out from around the side as it slams up into the ceiling, and there's only about 7 of these rats left kind of around it, and a couple more that had just trailed in, but like I said, it's mostly starts off, so there's about 9 rats over harassing the dog. There's 7 that were on the dog, and then 2 more that are coming up to him.
So I'm not very effective at this, but from as much distance as I can muster with my spear, I start spearing rats.
Cool. Just make a bloodthirsty roll for me.
All right. That's a +0, huh?
Yeah.
D20.
Yep.
That's an 8.
Okay. Yeah, you're like trying, and yeah, you're not good at this. You're like,
these rats are too fast.
Can I fire arrows at them?
Yeah, absolutely.
What should I roll?
Bloodthirsty.
Hey Yiji, what are you doing?
16.
16.
Yeah.
Yeah. You fire off an arrow and you skewer 2 of the 2 rats that were coming up on an arrow.
Okay.
I'm actually
I'll
backing
keep doing
away
that
now. They look kind of vicious. I tried, guys.
For me. Actually, yeah, a couple of them have started like 3 of them have broken off the dog that they had down and are kind of working their way over to you as you like we're tapping at them.
How big are the rats? Like,
they are like I said, only slightly larger than normal size. So they're only about bodies about this big, which is just on the large end of normal rats, right? But it's really more that there's a swarm of them. So like I said, you've got a few of these left, but they're coming towards. Like I said, 4 of them have broken off and are kind of coming your way.
Do you want to go Yiji or? Because they look delicious, I'm just gonna leap off you and like start punching them.
Yeah. I think you just do what you just do what you gotta do, you know.
Cool. So are you?
Yeah!
You're just
More
hopping down
offerings.
and just kind of slamming into them. Go ahead and make a bloodthirsty roll for me.
That's what I'm doing. I mean, they're really fat rats, right?
Yeah.
Why are they so ferocious? God damn.
18 plus 1.
Whoa.
Yeah, you like as you jump off, you land on some of the rats that are coming at Dula, and you like ground pound into the other 2 of them. There's just the 3 left that are on the one dog.
I'm so happy Ball Bearings is with us. So like,
Classic ball bearing.
Yeah, there's a lot there bearing. Yeah.
so there's 3 more.
Diogo, have you done anything?
Yeah, I fired
you
some
fired the
arrows.
arrow. Cool.
Yeah.
Is that
If
everybody?
I can fire more.
No, yeah.
fire
So
them.
you've killed. So they're on the dog. Other than that, if somebody wants to tell me narratively how you finish off the last couple of rats, it'll just happen. So how do you deal with the 3 rats that are on the dog that is being eaten by them?
Did one of
Just
the dogs
smash them
already
with
die?
our big rock.
Yeah. So you smashing one with a rock, BJ. What was the question you asked?
Did one of the dogs already die? Did I
On the
understand that
ground, you
correctly?
can't quite tell.
Tony,
was
you're
beaten.
muted again.
He was
Oh,
bitten
no.
by rats, right?
It's on the
did
ground,
he
and
die?
they were like biting at it, but you can't quite tell. It's certainly injured. You can't tell if it's alive or not.
It will turn into a zombie dog now.
So, like,
I pulled it.
Why you don't know that?
So,
Rare rat.
Oh,
Really?
yeah.
so Diogo's
I look
bashing
at-
one of them with a rock. What's everybody else doing?
I look at Erdin and I said, "No, Erdin, save some!" And I go towards the dog that's down on the ground, and I start pulling rats off it and wringing their necks, and then like tying them to my belt.
So you reach out.
Dula,
Go ahead.
Dula feels like he has done enough, and he is actually backing off now. He's like
Sit-
sitting down. Good day's work. And like starts just relaxing. That was a lot of work, guys.
So we see Ball Bearing, who I think you've established well enough is trained in the art of ratting. Reach out and just like grab 2 of these things, one like by each neck, and just like squeeze down to wring their necks. And yeah, then you tie them off on your belt. You got two more rations. And
Yes.
so
Reactions.
the dog on the ground it does look like it's got shallow breathing, but there's a huge gash on its side and a bunch of bite marks all over the lower part of its body.
How does our sewer hermit react to his injured dog?
He doesn't like. He's very passive during this time as things kind of calm down. He goes, like what happened? Like he doesn't seem to be able to tell. Like he doesn't seem to be able to tell exactly what's going on the other side of the room.
He's blind, I guess. I actually
is
test that
everyone
theory.
okay?
I go closer to the hermit and I go like that in front of him.
And you watch him like kind of like start a little bit, but like he's looking around in a way that lets you know, like, yes, he is his eyesight is impaired. He obviously has some sort, like he can sense the movement that you're doing, but that was it. Like it was,
Right.
it was almost like a flinch, but it was very obvious he can't tell.
Right.
Are y'all still there? You get the rats?
Are
Yeah.
you feeling okay, my friend?
I mean, I'm doing all right. You know, like some days are better than others. I'm hungry. I'm
Oh, we have food.
Looks like we have food now.
Yeah, we have lots of food. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, if you can share some, that's great. I guess I'm happy to tell you what I know. What did you have questions about?
A god who dwells in this area.
I haven't ever had a god come in and see me. I do know that there's some kind of big statue, that way, and he points like the opposite direction that y'all had come.
Okay.
He's like, but you gotta. I think you gotta go like north to get there. So you gotta go that way and then hook over. And if you go the other way, there's some room that's got like think an altar in it. I'm not sure. It's a big table against a wall though.
Okay, so either an altar or a statue, right? The way I understand it is it goes further west and then it goes either north or south.
Yeah, west,
Yeah,
and then what would be
north and south.
north? Yeah, there's a statue, and then west, and then what would be south? There's a room that has what he thinks might be an altar in it, but he doesn't actually know. You do got to watch out for the smugglers. I usually like sneak in, during the daytime when I know they're mostly asleep, but just keep an eye out.
Okay.
What do you guys think? Should we go for the altar first?
Did he pay us the coins? He said he was gonna pay us the coins.
Let's not take his coin. Come on, he's a blind
You could
blind
use the
hermit.
coin, yeah.
Yeah, we don't need the coin.
Hey, I need drinks. Drinks cost coins.
I have drinks with me right now. It's a potion of intoxication. Come on, I can give it to you.
AKA beer.
I think I was
No,
like,
it's a potion.
pick any potion you want, and Sam was like fruit flavored vodka.
It's alcoholic. Any potion you can choose to be alcoholic too. Okay.
And so, no, I love it. So like he gives you that
drink of
information.
invisibility.
You also see like he had you bring his dog over to him, and he's smearing he's taking like some sort of salve out of a pot, and like smearing it on the wounds.
Hey,
Yeah.
do you have any of that stuff? This inspector here has ran afoul of some leeches.
Oh yeah, you got to pay tribute to the leeches. Like everyone in this part of the sewer knows that.
Wow.
In exchange for, in lieu of like your 50 coins that you did promise us for dealing with your clear health violation, can we have some of your like medicinal stuff?
He says, I guess so. And he reaches down and he like feels like there's a couple pots in front of him, and he like picks one up and he like shakes it and like feels the shape of it. He's like, yeah, here's one.
Is it legit?
Can
Is
I
there a
smell
way-
it and see if it smells the same way as the thing he's using?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and give it a sniff. The one he's smelling, it smells kind of like there's a lot of different, like, as much as it's been very sterile scent, as you get near this guy's fire, there's the smell of him, which is not pleasant. There's the smell of the smoldering fire, which looks like it's a mix of burning feces and seaweed and other things that he's been able to gather from the sewers. And then there's a couple other, it's kind of just lingering scents in the air in this corner of the room specifically. But as you put it up, it's got like kind of a sharp herbal quality to it that almost makes your eyes water. It smells pretty similar to what he's smearing on there.
Okay.
Can we ask him for the recipe? Because he's making this stuff from stuff in the sewer. Sorry, go on.
I will actually do while they're doing this is I'm going to look at the condition of the dogs in general. Like, this doesn't seem like the first time he used these salves. So like I take a look at the dogs. Do they have former wounds that have healed over
Into scales.
Or is it like festering or anything like that?
They all have some scrapes on them. It doesn't look like they all have wounds. It's very obvious that most of those wounds have been tended to. There are a couple that haven't, but whatever this is, there's a decent chance that he's done this on these dogs before. But whether or not it healed them or whether or not it's just like this is really good moisturizer and took the edge off of these scars, it's kind of hard to tell. Unless, do you have something in your background that would let you know specifically a little bit more about this? Have you studied unguents and poultices and stuff like that?
I will pass some on my wounds. See what happens.
roll a d6 for me.
Worst case, we just cut off your leg.
Okay. 6.
Yeah.
Hey.
So go ahead and heal a hit. Right away, like you feel invigorated, like this easily cleans out the wound, and it like it's like it staunches the flow, and you also like you get like you can watch like almost immediately there's like some knitting and binding of flesh that happens.
Wow.
Like, it doesn't fully
That
heal
stuff's
it,
good.
but it does bring it up. It is a very weird green color, but you don't feel any sort of ill effects.
Can we ask him for the recipe?
Yeah. I put some of the squishy ceiling stuff into some jellied leech venom. I'll let that sit for a few days. I said, and he's like, a lot of the things he's describing are like the shape and size of things and where he finds them. It's not a super descriptive thing, but you are able to pick up like a general sense of what those things are, including like the mushrooms, the Willowbeard's mushrooms, and a few other items that make sense in there. But he also references things from like creatures you have not encountered down here yet, or even heard of. You know, he's like, I take some stuff out of the squiggly ones, you know, that tastes kind of like chicken.
It's a hallucinogenic too, so he's like hallucinating and saying stuff that doesn't.
To be fair, whatever it is he's doing, it takes a few days to like. So it's not something that we could use at the moment.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Speaking of, how are we doing for time on the lantern? Because we've been.
It's getting dimmer. You think you've probably only got another, like by the time you get back to that intersection, it is probably going to be down to it's probably going to be out.
Okay.
We have another one, right?
Yes, and I
have more flasks of oil too, so I guess.
Yeah, we are okay for light actually, because I've got oil and another lantern and earthen use.
So I think we I think we want to try the statue first. What do you think, guys?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
You're the wise like a god speaker leader.
So you make your way back down the hallway to the T intersection, right? So that you go back you go back eastward towards the city, make your way past the southward way that you came up, and then as you go again about another 150 feet down, you can actually hit another junction that's another 4-way junction, and you can go north, you can go straight, or you can go south.
The Mr. Sewer guy said.
Also, during that time, I'm going to just assume that you rotated the lanterns when you need.
Yes, so I'll spend the oil flask to refill the Erden's lantern.
Okay, cool.
So Sewer guy said north to the statues and south to the altar.
Correct.
And that we've got to be careful about smugglers further on. Is that how it was?
Correct. Those are the salient details as you recall them.
So the north branch is to the statue. That's where we're going, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
We will consult the statue. Perhaps
weren't we supposed to go to the altar, or we have to pass through the statues to go to the altar?
It's one way or the other.
Yeah. We could also go to the altar because it might not be an altar. It might be something else.
He said there was a table pushed to the wall. And so Hermit guy assumed it was an altar.
Okay.
But Dula... Sorry, go ahead.
Wouldn't the gods we are seeking be near the altar, I guess, or no?
You know, the more I think about it, the more I think that we should check the altar first. There might be more things there, like things hidden compartments and stuff. I feel like a statue would be a good.
Yeah, I'm creeped out by statues. I think they're always going to animate and choke us to death. So. Yeah.
So y'all gonna go south?
Yeah.
Cool. As y'all are standing here, everybody roll a d6 for me.
Okay.
A 2.
A 2.
4.
Um,
I got a 4.
From up ahead, the direction that hasn't particularly been discussed, you do hear a set of low voices arguing back and forth.
From where?
Straight ahead. So
the-
you have north, you have south, you have east in front of you, and you hear a set of low voices arguing to the east.
Can we distinguish what they're talking about?
As you listen, it's very hard to. It sounds like they're echoing around in something and then coming down, then echoing out down the hallway to you. So you can tell that there's a kind of an aggressive tone. You pick out a word about guard. You pick out just arguing. It sounds like there's some scuffling happening in there. Then yelling, but other than that, you can't pick out the specifics.
Can I sneak ahead and listen closely?
Yeah, are you sneaking ahead
sneaky?
you sneaking ahead in the dark? All right, so
Oh yeah, in the dark. The last time I did this, it didn't work so well for me. Did I see anything on the ground?
So as you kind of move forward a little bit, it's still waterway in front of you. But if you move forward a little bit, you can see more. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can see any immediate dangers.
So as you get to
me,
as you kind of get to the edge of the lamplight, you can tell that there's another rise here that moves up out of the water, that kind of ends this spillway. And it looks like there's actually like a narrowing here where the spillway goes down to only about a foot wide, where water can kind of run down, and there's water slowly kind of dribbling down. But there's a space to step on either side and kind of get you up on dry land as it kind of enters into this wider room. But you're at the edge of the light, so you've either got to take a light source with you or decide to sneak ahead into the dark on your own.
I'll pass Diogo my unlit lantern.
Is our intention to sneak up close to these people?
I don't know, just
Because
to
if
see what's happening.
Because
there.
if it is, bringing a lantern might not be
Yeah.
very sneaky.
Do we have clothes? So I've got some filthy. I'm covered in filthy rags. Can I sort of like cover the lantern and keep like a little like beam in?
Sure.
Just to see where you're going, right? Yeah.
You want to hood the lantern.
Basically.
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're able to do that. I mean, it is still a beam of light, and so like it is very evident when it hits something in the darkness.
Okay.
Everybody but now y'all are shrouded in darkness. Other than that one beam of light.
Well, we can stay. People who stay behind because we have 2 lanterns, right? We can light another lantern.
So you're hooding the one lantern. Everybody else is staying in the light. Erden's got the hooded lantern and is moving forward. Is that correct?
Sure. Yeah.
Cool. And are you just keeping it covered right now?
Yeah. Just I try to cover it and just illuminate the things that are closer to me, so I can walk safely.
So you're wanting to just see the ground right in front of you. Perfect. So you're able to do that. And this you as a trained kind of somebody who has a background moving around in the shadows and being sneaky. It's almost ideal in this situation that the light stops. Like the darkness, this ever-present darkness that surrounds you, is it's actually kind of probably beneficial in this situation because there's not a lot of bleed over from that light. However, you are mostly shrouded in darkness. Go ahead and make a D6 roll for me.
Oh. Don't they have any sort of light from where we're hearing the voices?
You can't tell yet. You don't see any.
Oh, okay. I rolled a 3.
Okay. You're fine. Keep on. You as far as you know. We'll find out later on at the end of the adventure what horrible thing happened. But yeah,
I'm sure we will.
You make your way forward, and you can feel yourself entering into this larger space. The water kind of enters into a little drainage area, and it's completely covered now wherever this water is coming out from, you've got 3 in sneaky. You get a kind of general you know what you kind of know the feeling of larger rooms in the dark. This is a bigger room than the last one based on the way the sound is slapping and a couple other pieces. You can also hear those voices arguing. It sounds now you can hear that there's distinctly 3 of them. And you hear smugglers, or what you might assume are smugglers, given the fact that as you come up, there's all these barrels and crates of goods all around you, arguing about a number of missing supplies.
Okay. Do I see in any of the barrels is something valuable, like a valuable wine or?
Roll a d6 for me, and I'll tell you what's in the closest barrel.
6.
I mean, what valuable thing would you love to happen upon?
I don't know, like some rare whiskey or like a wine that's coming from like a very distant region that it's appreciated by.
You see a couple of these bigger barrels or wine barrels, and you find a cask, a carryable cask set on top of them of whiskey that looks like the year stamp on it makes it look like it's decades old and has been aging down here for a while.
Oh, cool. Do I see any sign of the altar?
You went straight. You don't.
Falling.
I mean, you can't see anything other than what's right in front of you, unless you want to lift that hood up and kind of shine it around the room.
Yeah.
The altar is not in the chamber that you were in.
Dark?
Do what? What, Diogo?
Are they arguing, discussing in the dark?
Yeah, you can't see any source of light.
Okay.
However, now that you're close enough, the way they're referencing things makes it sound like they can see.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Like you can hear them moving, and they're obviously referencing things that you can't see. Let's actually, I think BJ's going to need to step away for a second. Let's actually use this as a great dramatic point to take just a 5-minute break for all of us. And we can get up, take care of ourselves. If you're out there watching right now, we're playing Down We Go. We're all going to take a little bit of a coffee break. They are traveling around the dark sewers, which is an adventure by our good friend Jorgen that's going to be appearing in the release of Down We Go. If you want to go while we are off taking care of ourselves, go to ttrpg.link/DWGLive. Back in about 5 minutes.
No. Oh, wait. You got muted.
Hey, folks, if you are out there watching live right now, I'm about to drop the link to Down We Go in the chat here on Twitch. Also, if you are watching later, you can just look at it in the descriptions on Facebook or YouTube. Even if you can't help support the campaign, or if you already had, we've got a little bit less than a week left to go for it. We would love to have your support, even if that's just for a couple of bucks for any level of reward, or even just sharing it out with people who you think might enjoy it. You can go to ttrpg.link/DWGLive to check it all out. We'll be right back. And we are back here live on Plus One EXP playing Down We Go. We're down in the sewers. Not quite as dying as we were. I think Diogo was worried very, very much there for a little while when half of your health got taken up by some blood-sucking leeches right at the start. So
yeah, I was like, oh wow, this is starting like just walking around and I lost half of my health. This is gonna go south very quickly.
Yeah, this is the first play test of this dungeon. As far as I know, like I have not run this dungeon before, so like I'm always making notes on like, this random ambush monster probably shouldn't be able. I even reduced the amount of damage that it did, and I was like, I don't think 3 damage for these leeches Makes sense. So I was like, I'll just do 2. We'll see how that goes. I'm like, nope, still too much for random encounter beast. And so even with like slithering over the foot first. Anyways, constantly making notes. But anyways, Down We Go will be out later this year. It's going through a lot of play testing right now and actual plays. We also have the Deathlight Feast happening in the city of Infinopolis right now, which Sam wrote. So there's a ghost abounding, not in the dungeon. They don't want to come down here for some reason. With that said, yeah, you hear these smugglers, like I said, right in front of you. You're able to grab this cask of whiskey if you want to. Just remember that all this stuff is here, also too. And you, like I said, it seems like they know what they're doing. Do what?
It's within my reach. The casket.
Yeah, so they're actually like you came up on the other side of a bunch of like there's other stuff further in because you said you only have the light right where you can see it. So this is what's right in front of you. So you can easily reach out and grab that little mini.
I'll grab that. Yeah. I'll try to be silent.
Cool. Yeah, I think given the argument that's happening, given your skills, I think you can easily get that up. But like I said, they're obviously they seem to be aware of what's around them. You can actually, it sounds like they're starting to like finish up the conversation. And it sounds like they're going to go look for whoever has been stealing from them. So they're starting to move your general direction.
Oh, they're going to our direction?
Yeah.
Okay, I go back as quickly as I can without drawing attention to warn them and tell them what I heard and that I didn't actually see any altar, but I got a nice casket whiskey that will earn us some good coins.
Nice.
Y'all can hear the voices starting to work their way closer to you.
Is Erden back with us?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he's made it back, and he's told he quickly relayed smugglers coming this way. I've got whiskey. Didn't see an altar.
Are we going south towards where we were told the altar was?
No, this was to the east, so this was not south. You can go south.
We were hanging back at the intersection while Erden went ahead. So Erden's back with us, and there are voices coming towards us. So do we want to go north or south or go further back?
Diogo, you are muted.
Is there any place we can hide and we can see when they pass through us? Like a crack in the wall or something?
Yeah, that's what.
You could, the roof goes up here a little bit. You could try to get up on the roof. No easy cracks in the wall. The other option is, there are a couple feet of water.
No way. Can everybody hide in the ceiling? Is everybody that agile or probably not, right?
I have ways to hide.
The water seems good.
Well, people have rags.
But that's me.
Probably cover yourself with rags and just stay in the corner.
Y'all have about, you think you have about 45 seconds till they get here.
I'm going to hide in the water. just like...
I'm going to hide in the ceiling.
Is ball bearing still on your shoulders?
So if EG drops onto his drops prone, I jump and grab onto the ceiling.
All right. Cool.
I have a question. How long is a round?
So we're changing some of the language on the playtest sheets to reflect. So a round is roughly a minute. So it will actually just say minutes, and then things that are exploration based will be listed in rooms like light is. And so you got about a minute whenever you, if you're looking at the invisibility spell, you got about a minute per level.
That's pretty good for me. I think that's what I will do. I will pretty much remove my skin as a snake removes a skin, and then underneath it's invisible.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Excellent flavor. Love it. So yeah, you see Dula rip their skin off and go invisible as it falls into the sewer and kind of fades into non-existence. We've got Yuji who's dived down into the water, and we've got two other people on the ceiling. What did you do with the lanterns?
I'm going to douse mine because mine's really bright.
Okay.
At the and at the moment.
Yeah.
And we want
Cool. For those of two of you on the ceiling, I think it's easy enough based on the description for ball bearing to get up on the ceiling. Diogo, how's your character getting up?
I have like iron spikes, so I can maybe put them in and just use them to scale the wall and grab them for
so
my
you're
life.
gonna really quickly take a hammer and go chunk, chunk, chunk?
That would make a lot of noise, right?
It would.
Isn't like a rough? Isn't like a rough wall or something? Or
It is a rough
like
wall. I'm just
really-
trying to figure out how you're getting up there. So go ahead and make a
just climbing, I guess.
make a sneaky roll for me to get up there.
Okay.
Can I
11?
spend my acrobatics to help Erden do this easily?
Oh, I mean, if your thought is like you've wedged your feet in, you reach down, you do like a trapeze artist move where you just like help hoist him up. I'm 100% on board with that. That sounds great.
Okay.
Awesome, thank you.
My goal this session is to spend all my abilities.
All of your abilities, excellent. I love it. So yeah, you reach down, grab him, like flip him up. Y'all are kind of crammed in around the root here. I just want one person to make a D6 roll for me to see what it's like as these pass. We've got, and actually let's have Sam do it because I feel like out of all of you, Sam has the least the most exposure right here, as far as luck goes. You got a 6.
Whoa!
Nice.
Awesome. Sam, like tell us what it looks like as you are watching up from the water. Like we're gonna do an under the water camera angle view as these 3 smugglers come by. Do they just pass straight through? Do they look around? What happens?
Can Yiji see? Because there's basically very little light around us at the moment.
Oh, this is not UG view. This is us as the outsiders watching this scene shot
right.
through the water.
Are they human? I think that's my.
That's a great question. They don't have to be. There are plenty of people of different cultures, races, and species within the city, and so whatever you would prefer.
Because you can see in the dark, and like who they are would definitely affect how they go about things.
I can describe that part. Around their eyes, the audience would see these kind of glowing, this glowing black on black darkness that's rimmed by silvered light that seems to be inherent to each of them.
Oh my God, they're all Vin Diesel.
I'll name that. Yeah.
Sorry.
They're Furians.
Oh yeah, they're Furians.
But they're also they're also family, and so.
So these Furians, they're not very tactical. You know, I mean, they just like to dive into situations. So, you know, they're not really noticing us. They just sort of like march through as if they own the place. They actually probably do, technically. So, yeah, that gives us the advantage in this situation because they're not expecting us.
Yeah. So they like, you can tell they're talking. They're convinced somebody's taken their stuff. As they go through, they're talking about who it could have been. They mentioned the brewer. The brewers maybe came down here and took some of it, trying to get their stuff back. You know, they seem very upset. Also, there's 100% a canon sewer guild faction in Down We Go. That was not a random made up pull. Aaron King wrote it. It's gorgeous. I'll read it to y'all later. But yeah, they kind of passed by having this conversation. I
have a question regarding I have a rules question. How does initiative work?
Initiative. So in this situation, if you decided you wanted to attack all of a sudden, you would have initiative because you're ambushing them. Like narrative logic is always going to win the day, and Down We Go, right? We're always going to play out what makes the most sense in the narrative as a primary. After that, once everybody is aware of what's happening, then it is one person rolls a d6 for the party, 4, 5, or 6.
Tony, you cut out for us.
You can. After that, you roll a d6, a 4, 5, 6. Y'all go first. In any order you decide, and you can change that around as strategically makes sense. And then once y'all have all acted, they would go. And then if y'all roll lower, then the reverse of that. They all go first in whatever order I decide, and then y'all go after them.
I've got levels in Bloodthirsty, so ball bearings kind of bloodthirsty.
Love it.
And,
You've got an action. I mean, like you guys have a free shot if you decide you want to do something here.
There's 3 of them, right?
There's 3 of them.
We can take them.
Well, but do we
Famous
want
last
to?
words.
Do we want to? They may not be bad.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. None of y'all can talk right now, so I'm going to let Ball Bearing decide if they're going to do this, or anyone else decide if they can. But that's what's going to happen.
Diogo was muted for a while. Did you want to say something?
Oh no, I was just saying that. Are we attacking them? Maybe they're just like honest criminals that are doing their job. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we're not that good ourselves. We are not.
They could be from the sewer guild or something.
Yeah,
we watch them. We watch them enter. We watch them get halfway. They're right underneath Ball Bearing and.
So I'm looking at the water. I'm looking at the water.
No, yeah, let's do this.
Oh,
Let's
yeah,
just see what
if
happens.
Ball Bearing does the thing, no other choice but to
So
follow.
Ball Bearing, tell us what it looks like as you swing down onto one of these unaware criminals.
I have a 3 backstabs to use, so let's do this.
Tell us what it looks like as you swing down onto one.
I basically swing down and try to land on their shoulders.
Okay.
And basically, I've got knuckle dusters, right?
Yeah.
So it's like at their heads.
So you're like laying on their shoulders and coming in and pounding from either side. Classic.
Yes.
Classic halfling move. And so I love it. Just make a bloodthirsty roll for me.
Oh boy. Okay. Here's where it goes wrong.
I'll give you a +1 because any adjacent friends get +1 to hit with my tactics.
Tactically, how are you supporting them?
I have set up a complex system of trips using my 10 feet long battle skipping rope under the water, and their feet automatically gets bound.
Cool.
And they're like, oh wow, what's happening inside the water? And then they come down. Pam, pam, pam,
love it. So
boom.
you got the +1, absolutely.
Crap. My dice fell off the table.
We're not playing with the optional you die roll. You're fine. Go ahead and pick your dice up and do it.
Damn it. Okay.
It's a fun thing to do on stream, but I've also seen it turned against the GM by somebody showing up with 8 characters, and anytime they're asked to roll, just rolling off the table. So
I rolled an 11. So +1 for Bloodthirsty and +1 for Yiji's.
Perfect. As they kind of sitting around, you land on one of their shoulders and you pound in, and you feel their skull like crack and compress. As all of a sudden they like slump to the ground, and you are standing chest deep in the water now, with a body down below you.
Wait, is this person unconscious, or are they like still like struggling?
They are not struggling for sure.
Oh god. Okay.
They saw
Like
dead.
you felt their skull. You felt their skull kind of compress when you landed. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
Does anybody else want to act now?
I will use my backstab. Like, since I saw him just doing the drop, I guess we're doing this now, and just get down and use my automatic success for
Awesome.
the
Tell me what it looks like as you backstab this individual and they collapse into the water.
Well, he attacked and then I got surprised and I got down and I say these words. Well, I guess we're doing this now, and just smash him in the head with the back of my short sword and does he fall unconscious or something? Or
He certainly, you hear his skull crack and he certainly falls to the ground.
Yeah.
I love how you guys are like, do they fall unconscious? I'll be honest, you're killing them. They only have one.
There's 3 of them, right? So there's one more.
There's one more.
Well, I'm invisible and I have a spear, so I'm gonna be
Okay.
like going in right in front of the last remaining one and just sticking the spear right in his chest, in their chest.
Yeah, go ahead and make a bloodthirsty roll for me. I think you're gonna kill him no matter what. Because you're invisible. Because actually, go ahead and just roll with advantage for me. Let's just do that. So roll 2 dice.
How
and
does-
take roll 2 dice and take the higher result.
What die?
D20.
All right.
Plus any bloodthirsty, +1 for tactics.
I rolled a natural 20 on one of them. So.
That sounds great.
Wow.
So, you actually, here's something Marcus and I were toying around with. We have not put this in the settings yet, but I'll go ahead and do it because double damage for a natural 20 in such a low damage game seems like such an odd thing to do. We talked about a whole bunch of other things. Here's what I like: recharge one of your abilities. So you can take a point back in one of the abilities you've expended for rolling a crit.
Huh.
Are you going to wear their skin now?
Yeah, I am curious. Is your skin just back now completely? Do you look different? What is it like?
As the invisibility wears off, it's kind of like it's still me, but with less blemishes, and it's like I had a good
It's like
facial.
A good rejuvenation
skincare
technique.
Yeah, like all of the dirt are gone. And it's like
Invisibility
baby
just
fresh
started
skin.
as a beautician technique in this world.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in all the spas, they would just rip your skin off. You'd be invisible for a while, and you'd come back.
Yeah.
And then they realized there were other applications for that magic.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, tell me. In addition to recharging one of your abilities, tell me what it looks like as you spear this gentleman through.
So it just happens that the spear comes out of nowhere, and then you can see the outline of my skin already starting to show because it's been almost a minute. And as his eyes widen in surprise, I just go, "Shh, it's okay, it's almost done."
And he like slumps off into the ground. Yeah, and that's, you don't have to worry about initiative again because y'all just absolutely slaughtered them. So,
Okay.
And my invisibility's back because that's the only one
There
I've
we go.
used so far.
So y'all have successfully ended these gentlemen's search for whoever had stolen their stuff. Yeah, you can. What do you want to do now?
Loot the bodies.
Absolutely. Somebody roll a d6 for me.
I guess this is not the first time ball bearing has murdered people. So
I'm pretty sure this is not the first time for all of us. But
I murdered someone as a backstory element, so
Ball bearing. Zedeck, why don't you go ahead and roll a d6 for me?
oh, sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
5.
Awesome. So y'all, as you're sifting through like these gentlemen's bodies, you find a key. That looks like it's kind of this silver. It's the brightest thing you've seen in this dungeon. The way the light catches this key, it's made of some type of metal that you haven't seen before. It's almost milky white. It's so silver. You also find.
Does it shed some kind of light or something, like counteracting the shadow of the?
It stands out against the darkness, but it doesn't seem to emit any light beyond that.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
And you find about 100 coins split between the three of them.
yay!
Woohoo. That's 25
Which was
points
going to
for
be
each of us,
significantly
right?
higher, but I rolled as low as possible on the good loot table roll, and so.
Hey, there's less people coming to look for that whiskey too. So
No, I'd say that's not even including
Yeah.
what the stuff you already know is potentially in that other room. So that's just what they had on them. You find other odds and ends. They each have a dagger on them. One of them's got a little bit of leather armor. There's all the other accoutrement that they have. There's a set of thieves' tools in there as well. And one of them has a crowbar. But other than that, there's not extensive. There's not a lot of extensive things other than their coin purse, that key, and their weapons and items. And so,
I shall pocket the crowbar.
cool.
I'm curious about the leather armor because currently Dula is only wearing like a silk robe that's like it's not even buttoned in. It's like it's easier to get invisible when there's less things.
Yeah, so if you, these are leather bracers, so these would actually potentially not be that hard to go invisible with because they just basically come up and cover the front part of the arms. But if you want to put them on and take on and add a bit of armor, you absolutely can.
Yeah, sure. We'll do that.
Cool.
Leather bracers.
I want to take one of the bodies, or at least if as many bodies as we can carry, and use it to pay the leech tax later on.
That's true.
Yeah.
The leech tax?
The
leech tax. Yeah.
I mean, the last time y'all paid the leech tax, you did it by dropping the the rat body into the water. So I mean, you could take the body with you, or you could just leave the bodies in the water.
Yeah, we'll leave the body. We'll leave the bodies in the water. The leeches should know.
Yeah.
I hope.
They'll know who
They're
sent
all
them.
over the place. So
And so they probably were watching as this happened. And so so yeah, you've got you've been told the statue room is to the north and that the altar room is to the south.
So which do we check first? We wanted to go check out the altar room.
Yeah.
altar then.
Yeah, let's go back there and see if we
Alright.
finally find the.
As you
The
make
altar,
your
yeah.
way south through the tunnels, it goes about 50 feet, and then again it starts to open up. You can step up onto somewhat dry ground, and you can see around you there are these kind of alcoves set in the wall that have different what looks like statues on them. And then at the far end of the room, there's a table that's just made out of dark, what looks like it might be obsidian, with sigils kind of worked into it. It's not a large room, but there's also these bright, colorful mushrooms that seem to be growing out of all of the statues.
Were we told that the exploding mushrooms were multicolored?
They were described as bright and colorful. I think we have enough mushroom knowledge in the crew. We've established that yes, you are aware that these are very possibly the exploding mushrooms you've heard about, and they are growing around the altar, and they are growing off the statuary that has this obsidian on it primarily. Like there's a couple that are around it, but whatever this black rocky substance is seems to be the perfect breeding ground for whatever these mushrooms are.
I will look for a spot where the mushrooms are not growing as wildly. My point of view here is that a portion where people would have been touching it a lot would probably not have as much growth.
So the center of the altar area looks like it has a bowl on it of some sort of, and there is the area around the bowl itself, and kind of that's the 1 foot right in front of it are exactly what you're talking about. There are no mushrooms there. Yeah, people's oils and other stuff have built up and prevented them from growing.
It's a bowl. It's a big bowl.
Yeah, it's a big bowl, and like there may be something in it, but you're still in the back of the room, and so unless you move forward,
okay.
you're not able to see.
That's interesting.
What
From
can
my
we see
vantage
of-
point.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, all right. I'll do it. From my vantage point, is the bowl made of any precious material, like precious metal, studded with gems, anything like that?
It looks like it's metal. It's completely blackened. It looks like it's probably a fire bowl. And there are a couple of vases that are set at the backside of the altar that are surrounded by those mushrooms that are very delicate, ornate looking. But it looks like that middle bowl is probably meant to have a fire lit in it.
Okay. How about the floor? Are the mushrooms growing on the floor?
They are not. I mean, there's a couple sporadically, but not in any sort of dense function you need to worry about unless you're actively running away. Are you all still in the back of the room right now?
Okay. That's all the information that I want for now. I'm thinking of going towards the altar, but I'm willing to go wait for the other party members' input.
Can we check out the statuary closest to us?
Sure.
Whether we can tell what they look like and who they are of? Sure.
As you kind of get close to the two that are nearest to the door, there's some sort of black. You can't tell if something has grown on these, if they've corroded over time, or if the artist's intention was a mix of human bodies that look like they're partially phased out, because there seemed to be this thick black, almost like basalt looking sections of these that block off any fine detail. And so it's in the darkness, it has the effect of almost looking like they are fading into the surrounding blackness. So they kind of lose details in certain sections, but it's either very well done or something has happened to these statues over time to make them look like this. So parts are very fine, like very, very, very worked. The other parts have this kind of basalt effect around it that causes this fading. And mushrooms galore. So I'm assuming you're being careful and not poking, prodding, or anything else like that.
I guess we can. So like ball bearing's gonna sort of like look at the statues and like, because he's naturally like what Erden said, you know, like they might come alive. So as we carefully venture into the chamber, ball bearing's going to keep an eye on the statues and see whether there's any one of them is distinct from any of the others.
Who has the lanterns with them?
Not me.
I had one, and I think
I can relight mine as well.
Yeah,
so
I'm just curious. Where do you relight yours? Did you already relight it, or are you relighting it right now?
Okay, I shall relight it right now.
As the first time you go to like spark to create a spark, roll a d6 for me.
Oh boy, here we go. 2.
I'm randomly reminded of that time when I was checking if the air is flammable, and I'm like, wait.
So with that weight, I'll 100% give you. I'll give you the +1 you need to make that not cause a massive explosion, and instead you just kind of see the spark come off, and you see it kind of bloom into the air itself. You do relight your lantern, but you have this kind of fireball effect right in front of you from that sparking.
Okay, so the air is full of spores, I would imagine.
And so as you step forward, Diego, you can see like your lantern start to rise, like it starts to rise and flicker also too. But it's there's something in the air here.
The mushrooms are bright color, but they don't themselves emit light, right?
Correct.
Okay. We need the lanterns either way. So, all right. What are we looking for here? We're looking for
A god?
a god, but there's also like a lot of treasure here, right? That's the more important thing for us.
Actually, I don't mind if we don't find the god, because like
Me too.
No.
You know what?
We
All
do.
of our ghost friends, screw them. They're dead. We'll deal with it once a year.
I'm still in love with Caltrop.
what?
Okay.
What we're supposed to do with the god? Like the god is like in a bowl or something, like in a box, or
Maybe we pray at the altar.
Are there any markings on the altar that signify that it is indeed an altar, or
the obsidian's
holy
worked.
place?
It looks like an altar to you. That middle bowl looks like an offertory bowl. The statuary around it, the way it's set up, this looks like it's probably a place that there is a function to this place that it has some sort of esoteric or ritual quality to it.
Would you like to do the divinations?
Yeah, I could.
Gula?
Okay, because I'm still unclear on what we want from this room. Do we want to talk to the god? If there is a god.
Yeah, I mean it's worth checking, I think.
We want to stop whatever here is like from preying on the ghosts. Or at least that's what
that was the initial impetus for the mission.
But here's the thing though, like I mean, like before BJ goes on, like all the ghosts need to do is not come here, and they'll be fine. You know, right?
It depends. Like,
as long as you don't get made into a ghost here, because if you got killed in this space, apparently your soul gets eaten. So, I mean, you know, you don't have to feel worse about slaughtering those guys down here, but apparently they are forever dead.
Oh yeah,
right.
Something
I will
to
just think of it as they turn into leeches.
Yeah. But yeah, no.
Okay,
I mean,
we're talking to the god.
You want to talk to the god?
I kind of want to, but I don't know what to ask it yet. So
okay,
if
Are you,
If
are
you
you
have-
the entity that has been eating souls?
All right, I could ask that.
Yeah.
I think. All right, so Sheer, I will. Here's what I will do. I will take I will use divination
Mhm.
by taking out my spear and then nicking a piece of my blood from my palm, dripping it onto the floor, and then I say, "I've offered this unto thee, God of this place, so that thy may answer this question: Are you the entity that eats ghosts in this realm?"
So, normally you would just get a standard ass response and down we go because that's how it works. And you're going to get a standard ass response, but there's a hiccup here. Are you asking the god of darkness or the other god that's here?
Oh shit!
What do you mean by other god? What do you mean?
I like how the god of darkness is not the god that we do not know.
Well, it's the god you've talked
Yeah.
about a whole lot, and so I'm just curious. Yeah.
What's the other one?
I am curious about the other one, so I am actually going to be asking this other entity that
Okay,
I
great.
feel
Ask the question
in my
again one
gut.
more time for me, then.
Are you the entity that consumes souls in this place?
I am not the consumer. I am the one who holds them down.
Oh.
Oh, they're not dead.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're just being held down.
Yeah.
Neat.
Well, why don't you?
Wait. Sorry, I in character we're not participating in this,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
I will.
yeah,
I will relay the Dula will relay the information to everyone after I get the response,
This
and I say that the god answers, and it says, "Blah."
Ballbearing scratches his head and says, "Okay, hold what down? Who the god that eats souls or the souls? Because the answer seems like really vague to me."
I can only do this once every so often, so
Yeah, you get you get the please insert another coin for more time on your deity hotline notification when you check back in.
I should have gone to two holy and one mystical instead of two mystical, one holy. Huh?
Because that's the thing. It's like does this other god hold the consumer down, or does it hold the souls down?
Okay, I am aware though that there are two gods. Like there's a god.
You now
of
have become aware that there are two gods. Yeah, like as you reach out, like the presence of the god of darkness is much higher. It seems that whatever has, like, the other god is primarily the one who has bound this space, and so they are not particularly in it, but because you were here when you were asking and interacting with this space, you were able to detect that this is something that was created by that god for a purpose. And I'll even give you this with your one and holy. It does feel like an antithetical relationship. It doesn't. Nothing around you is signifying light, but a lot around you is signifying fire. And so you don't get a sense of this is a god of light so much as it might be a god of burning or of immolation or of flame.
That tracks. And all the mushrooms. I explained to the rest of the group that I believe that there are two gods here, one of darkness and one of fire, and it makes sense that the god of fire is the one I conversed with, given that there's a strong fire motif. If you look at that bowl, that's a fire bowl, and the mushrooms themselves are burning mushrooms, so it makes sense. Now the question though of which god is which god is consuming, that's not as clear given the question that we posed to it.
Are y'all still staying back towards the back side of the room?
I would assume that I went into the room a little bit when I divined because I offered some of my blood.
That's fine.
Makes sense,
As you got that's great note. As you got closer, you could kind of see over the lip of the giant fireball, and there is something inside of it.
Oh, what is it? I take a closer look, slowly but surely approaching it.
Okay, and you don't have any sort of flame or fire with you, correct? The lanterns are all back on the back half of the room. So so as you get closer, you're kind of on the edge of the firelight, but there's something black and glistening in there. It looks like it's some sort of like black quartz, like huge chunk of like blackened quartz is sitting in the middle of that bowl. It's if nothing else, it's certainly worth a lot of money.
So here's what I will do. I will take out my wooden thimble, and then I'm going to try to scrape the black quartz onto my mushroom bowl, because I have a bowl of mushroom that smells like feet, right?
That's great. Yeah. You're able, taking your time, to like reach down in and pull it back out and retrieve it.
Because
it's a pretty sizable chunk. It's about half the size of your fist.
Okay. It's a good thing though that my mushroom is shaped like a bowl, so I could do that. And also I use the thimble because I feel like it might be attuned to fire, like everything else here. So
isn't it radiating the darkness, or no? Is it connected?
It's more of
to
a
the
black
darkness?
quartz, right?
Yeah. It is solid black. As you know, you don't have a background in this, Erdem, but as you look at it, man, that kind of speaks to your soul a little bit, like that it is oriented towards darkness. You and all your time retrieving stones from different places have never seen anything quite like it.
But do I feel any kind of weird vibe? Maybe like this is like the source of this weird darkness that it's around us.
You don't have any holiness, so you don't have any way to be able to tell that.
Or am I just being paranoid?
Well, I am a bit holy.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I don't think like for you, there's this muddling. Like it's the feeling you've had the entire time you've been down here. All this darkness all around. Like it's not more than. However, if Erden says that out loud, it tracks. Yeah. Like, you know.
Can you feel if this weird darkness that's kind of almost devouring?
Does it speak to me all Warcraft like?
It is distinctively different. It's raw. It has some of the kind of same basalt rough edges to it. Even though it's quartz that the statuary has, it does not match the altar or the original what that's the exposed parts of the stonework for the statues don't match it, but it does have some of this basalt function on it, and it's very natural and rough hewn.
You know what? The more I think about it, the more I'm getting the vibe. I tell the others as Dula, the more I'm getting the vibe that this is actually being contained by the fire god, and perhaps we should return it to the bowl. Although it does seem very expensive.
Do you think something bad would happen if took this out of here?
That's my current position.
And bring it to a ghost.
Current supposition.
Okay, if you bring it to a ghost, does the ghost get eaten?
Only one way to find out.
Here's the thing: we're not coming back here. Right.
That is highly likely, yes.
Oh.
So
it's the most expensive looking thing we found so far.
I mean,
here's the deal. You can always bring it back here before you leave if you want to. There are other parts of this area you haven't explored yet.
We'll think about. We'll carry it with us and we'll think about it. Yeah.
So for
let's
now,
check out the statue room.
Bowl.
Okay.
All right.
The statue room.
I mean, it'll be really ironic if we bring this thing is meant to be captured, and if we bring it to the statue room, like it catalyses with the statue and like activates it or something. But I mean, there's only one way to find out.
Yeah, it's a one
fits
shot.
Perfect in one of the eyes of the statue.
I'm just gonna put it on my inventory for now. I'm gonna call it Shadow Quartz.
Love it. So yeah, you stow the shadow courts away. Do y'all head back north?
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you head back north. You trace your way around the bodies of the individuals that you left scattered on the ground. You can tell that there are leeches that have latched on and are draining the blood out of them as you kind of step over them. You can see this down below, and even a couple of them have swollen up above the surface. You continue on down. You go only about 30 feet north, and in this area you actually step into is unlike most of the other parts of the sewer. It is rough hewn, not stonework around you. The stonework kind of ends, and it looks like there's a natural cavern. There is a statue in front of you that is completely covered in that basalt effect. It seems almost formless and seems to fade back and forth into the darkness as the light from your lanterns flicker across it. In one hand, held upside down, almost as if dangling it out of your reach, is a sword made out of that same milky white silvery thing. It stands out in the darkness against everything else. Below that, there is some sort of offertory box also too, an iron box that's been blackened and has some this dark basalt like stone coming out over it with a slot in the middle of it and a lock on the front of it. And then the other hand of this giant like 8-foot tall figure has its hand outstretched towards you.
Okay. Interesting.
The sword, though.
The sword is milky white. It's the same substance as that key, right?
Correct.
There's also a lock on the offer box, right?
Open the box. Open the box.
Open the box.
Open the box. Not me though. Someone else do
Who
it.
has the key?
I think Erden has the key.
Erden, go ahead. You might as well.
Marcus Linder is saying hi to everyone.
Hey, Marcus.
Hello.
Okay, we're opening it.
You're using the key. So as you open it up, you see all kinds of things that have been deposited in here over the ages. You see coins of different eras from Infinopolis. You see small like trinkets. You see jewelry. You see what looks like rotted food, though it's so ancient that it seems to have like it doesn't smell particularly at all either, but it's a mass of offerings. It's very obviously also that some of these items have been placed here recently. Diogo, as you think back, it looks like some of the items in here that look specifically like they're placed less so than dropped are some of the items that were missing from what the smugglers were describing in their argument. So it looks like one of the smugglers may have been taking and dropping offerings in here from that. For what purpose, you don't know, but that's what you see down in there.
You mentioned that there were food items. All of the food have been like super old,
ancient,
right?
rotted to the point where it's like you could tell this used to be a piece of fruit, but it rotted and then dried, right?
But there's more than one.
There are more than one. They're a little bit further down, but yes, there's more than one piece. Yes.
Can we carry the box? There's a loss. It's quite valuable, isn't it? All the stuff in here.
So that basalt kind of comes out around it and is holding it in place. If you could free it, it is large enough. It is small enough that an individual would be able to probably carry it as long as they were a fairly large person. Otherwise, it would take two people.
I'm going to hazard a guess, and I'm going to take out the grilled snake that I have. That's supposed to be an offering for my master, and I place it there, and I see if, and then I look around and try to see if anything happens.
Yeah, you feel things shift around you, and you more than anyone else get a kind of clearer sense of what's happening. It's all of a sudden easier for you to see. You can perceive the darkness a little bit better. You feel as if your sight has been dramatically improved, but you also feel something hook in onto your soul.
Oh, what?
It's your master. I think. I hope.
Does his eyes change?
To anyone who takes note, there is kind of a blackish silvery light that is now like around his eyes.
Hey, I turned into a Furion.
What's going on, Dula?
I think
He's
I think
becoming a
the
gothic.
offering has made me see.
And you
But
kind
it's
of-
not like I see ghosts now, right? It's
no, you just see
just
better.
seeing
like,
in darkness.
You get like almost as it like basically you went from half light to like, oh, it's like a normal room in the dark with a lantern now. So you're still seeing shadows, you're still seeing differentiations, but whatever the darkening effect in here is has been diminished for you.
Okay.
And you feel like a tugging to give more.
I feel like I should give more.
I very urgently whispered to Erden, what do we know about the smugglers here? Like, where do they sell their goods? Do they actually sell their goods, or do they like collect stuff here just to feed this thing?
What are they smuggling for?
I don't know. I'm just finding about this now. This is weird. It wasn't like this when I went to this place. Maybe it's like a new code or something. They just found out some forgotten entity. And
Since I'm being compelled to offer more, right?
No, don't offer more. Don't listen to the voices in your head.
Do I get to resist this, or am I like?
You're listening too much death metal and stuff like that.
Night vision is not the greatest thing in the world. Okay, you can't get money from it. Come on, let's just take the box, you know.
Also,
It's an interesting theory.
Dula,
if we
If you-
take out
yes.
the offerings, does the darkness go away?
You don't know.
Take it out. We can't.
Why would I take it out? It wants it.
Because there's money to be made. What do you want to like?
you might not see
That's-
your master again
Yeah.
if you become
That's-
too attached to this
Yeah.
to this
I
shadow
wonder what
god.
will happen if I offer it these orc ears.
No.
You hear like a whisper in your soul as you say that says, I could be your new master.
No.
Oh.
No. Oh no, your master got eaten. Oh no.
That's why he has been absent, huh?
Give it to
Yeah, bro.
me.
Your master will want you to take the financially viable choice.
Let's start taking things out of the.
Yeah.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll a d20 for myself.
Yeah,
roll
let's
low.
do it.
If I roll low, I'll do the low wisdom thing. And I rolled a 6.
Yeah.
Like, I put in the 2 orc ears.
So you actually, with a 6, what you actually get the sense of like this hand that's outstretched, that quartz would fit right in the palm of
No.
your hand.
If I see him taking the quartz, I'll try to grab it and get away.
Yeah. I'm actually like grabbing because it's in a mushroom bowl, right? So the first thing that the first thing that everyone notices is the smell of feet as I take out the out the bowl of the mushroom bowl, and I'm like, look, I think it will fit.
We are fairly certain that this thing has eaten our friend's brain.
Yeah.
And I see Erden and do I see Erden and Dula sort of like get into like a sort of scuffle?
That's a great question. So let's do just do a quick luck check for each of you. Diogo and BJ, each roll a d6 for me.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
5.
I love this. Like where the outcome.
I rolled
this
a
is great.
3.
Diogo, what did
I
you
rolled
roll?
a
You know-
5.
So Diogo, you're able to get there and like pluck out the quartz out of their hand, it's very close. Like because they knew what they were doing, and you were watching. You smell those feet in the air. You watch them, and you're able to like quickly like grab it out.
No, why did you cancel the
Can't
ritual?
you see what you're doing? You
We
have to
don't
take
need
this
the
stuff
ritual.
out.
We could make money here. Come on.
How secure is the sword in this statue's hand?
So as you look up, I mean, it like I said, it looks like it's dangling it down. You actually can tell like it's got its hand on the hilt, and it's pointed like it's there. I should say there's that, and I'm going to do it the opposite way that it actually is because it'll look the right way to everybody, but also that's where my boom arm allows me to be. So it's got a handout like this, and it has the sword out like this, almost as if it's offering a trade.
Oh.
So
taking the sword might also be bad.
Put the crystal in the hand and take the sword.
What's in the sword? Can we see? Like,
Like I said, you've never seen metal like this. It matches the key, I mean, other than it looks sharp, and it stands, like I said, and it stands out against the darkness. Its hand is firmly wrapped against the hilt, and so it's. But yeah, it definitely suggests there's a trade. Put something here, and you can have this.
Put the crystal in the hand.
How is Dula reacting to this outrage against their new master?
I'm probably rambling something about the quartz is meant to be there. Don't you see? This is the hand that fits.
And I want to clarify because I'm not a big fan of will subversion, and I think BJ's fine. But you feel these tugs and these temptations. You still have total control. So you role play into that as much as you want. I want to be clear as GM. I'm not forcing this behavior.
I think from the point of view of Dula as a character, this is just he is a very mystical character, and he understands that these voices.
Again, it 100% tracks for me. I want to be clear to you and to the viewing audience, like that. I'm not playing in the mind control area.
Okay, before we do that, can we try like taking some of the offerings out to see if the darkness?
Yeah, we take the offerings out.
If it becomes weaker.
You
empty it into our bags.
Yeah, so as you kind of empty it into your bags, what you sense is the darkness like closing in around you as you do that, like forcing the light down towards the lantern. And anybody who has any points in holy has an immense sense of anger around what's happening in the room. That said, for anybody who has made an offerings, also BJ, you can still see as if there was a normal lantern light. The darkness no longer affects you. For everybody else, it's closing down to a pinpoint of light around you.
As we're taking things out?
As you're taking things out.
So I'm just standing there watching Yiji and Erdin do that, and like I'm watching the darkness encroach onto the lamp, and I go like, I hate this place. I hate this statue, and I only know how to solve things with one method:
violence.
So I'm gonna the light's going, my friends.
Set things on fire. There's more light when things are on fire.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump out and punch the Balsat like statue in the head.
So you jump up, punch the head. Make a bloodthirsty roll for me.
Dula is currently outraged, but he's also not doing anything about it at the moment because he's like
17 plus 1.
Wow.
So this is more of like are you on someone's shoulders right now? Or are you on your own 2 feet?
I was on my own, but
so
I was
I think this is more like a scramble up, like flip over the arm, like connect with the head, and like you don't hurt yourself because you know how to throw a punch, but you just punched a statue.
Oh, so nothing happens. Okay, I keep doing it. It's like stop killing the light.
As ball bearing is doing it, I'm gonna wrap my rope around the arm which is carrying the sword and break the hand off, because I don't give a shit about any of this. I just want the sword. I just want the treasure.
I have a difficulty for this, so go ahead and make that roll.
Okay, so we're gonna be with a +2.
Yeah.
It's a 6.
You just can't get the leverage on this thing. It is a thick, heavy rock arm, and you can't seem to pull it free.
So currently, I am trying to reason with Erdin, because Erdin has the gem, right? Sorry, what was it again? The shadow
quartz, I think is what you called it.
The shadow quartz, yeah. And I'm like, if we want the sword, we can just offer him offer the statue the shadow quartz.
I'm
Right?
shimmying down the sword arm with my crowbar arm out.
Oh, the crowbar is pretty cool. Yeah, it might work.
Go ahead. Go make a roll with advantage, plus bloodthirsty.
Okay.
And I'm just saying,
a crowbar is 100% designed to do the thing you're trying to do.
17 is my higher roll.
You're pulling, and your crowbar just keeps on like slipping out. You can't seem to gain purchase anywhere. Once you finally do, you're tugging, and it's not budging.
Have we? Maybe we should. Have you? There are a lot of mushrooms around, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're the ones in the other room. There's all kinds of stuff. And here's the other thing. Like, it's very hard to see now. You still have
can't see anything.
You can see the person who's holding the lantern. Like, you can make your way out of here with the wealth you've accumulated.
How much wealth do we have? Oh wait, we can't tell, right? We need to sell it.
Yeah, you'll need to go fence it. I mean, you know that there were at least 190 like coins in there, and those coins are going to represent more wealth than each. I mean, some of them are going to be worth a coin, but like these were from all denominations from a bunch of different time periods. Like some of these are going to be incredibly valuable,
worth more. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I think we're good to go, basically.
Okay. Dula, if you want to stay here, you can stay here.
Wait. I'm not gonna stay here. I'm just saying, if we want the sword, we might need to offer something of equal value. That said, if we really want to keep the shadow quartz, we could just. It looks expensive as well.
I'll put it this way: if the shadow quartz is as valuable as the sword, there's no point in trading it in the first place.
Unless we want to use the sword, but
unless you're really into swords.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, any of us here sword aficionados? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Then I'm happy with
okay.
the quartz. Well, I'm not happy. Something about me is making me not happy about it.
Well, we get some fresh air, this you change your mind.
All right. So you're going to make your way back out?
Yeah. I think we've gotten rich enough.
So as
we didn't solve the problem. We're here to solve, but yeah.
That's true. We didn't solve the problem.
As you make your way back, everybody roll a d6 for me.
1.
2.
4.
4.
So you hear kind of a rumbling in the distance, and you hear a swishing sound.
Okay.
It almost sounds like a river.
Running would be a good idea.
Hold on. Everybody calm down. It's coming in our direction.
Yeah.
It's rushing our direction. I'm going to take out my potion of scrolling. I'm going to pour into the water.
Wait, I thought you had a potion of fruity intoxication.
I have 2 potions.
Okay.
Well, the second potion is not really a potion. It's just alcohol.
Okay.
The potion of scrolling will scroll back. It will reverse that direction by getting it the waves to scroll backwards.
I love that pitch. Absolutely. Yeah, it's designed to fold things back up. So
yes,
you watch as sewer water is starting to pour down you as the daily flush happens of this section of the sewers come out and down and towards you, and then all of a sudden as it's about to hit you, it starts. Time almost looks like it's reversing as it rolls back up away from you and it heads back up. Now it's that eventually it'll hit its origin point and then start to cascade back, but you've bought yourself enough time to make it back to the exit and climb up and out. and that was the Dark Sewers.
Yay.
I like how we were really talking about the potion of scrolling and the scroll of potions. And it actually did something.
Yay.
Let's do this as a little bit of a reaction roll. So I'm going to say a couple things, and we'll chat a little bit about it.
Okay.
Just really quickly, 15 minutes, and then we can have everybody hop off. Reaction Roll is a live stream within a live stream. It's our chance to sit down and talk with the creator of a game that we just played about that game. Today, we don't actually have the original creator with us, but I am the game developer on this. It's Down We Go, which is a rules light, old school style RPG that is live on Gamefound right now. What's Gamefound? It's kind of like Kickstarter, but just for tabletop content. And with that said, we just finished a session that I ran for folks. I am always refining and honing my GM skills for OSR style stuff, working on telegraphing and some other pieces. But I love running Down We Go because it's so easy and there's a lot of team brewing aspects that come into it. So the burden isn't as heavy on the GM for getting all the great details out into the world. Instead, we work a lot more collaboratively on that. But I had an absolute blast playing. Marcus Linderum is the creator, their sweetest designer, who may still be watching, but maybe headed to a football game over in Sweden right now to watch instead, because that's what they had going on this afternoon. But with that said, let's meet our players and let's hear from them about their with Zedeck. Zedeck. Oh. Let's start with Zedeck. Zedeck, tell people who you are, what you do, and where they can find you online, but what it was like to play Down We Go. And also, if you have any questions or thoughts, ask away.
All right. So this is the reintroduction. My name is Zedeck Siew. I'm a writer and designer. I make 1,000 Islands with Artist Macau. We can be found on 1000islands.com. So this was a pretty good. Like I had a lot of fun. Like the beauty of old school play for me is to like sort of like it stays in the imaginative space. And in that sense, the more the rules get out of the way and facilitate us staying in the imaginative space, I feel like the better it is. So this worked pretty well, I thought. Yeah, I just had a lot of like
if you want to talk about the adventure, we can talk about the adventure. You don't just have to do game commentary or anything else.
Okay, yeah. Like, it was. I really. So there were moments where things sort of occurred without a great deal of telegraphing. I felt like there was a bit of like there wasn't a chance to sort of really react. But that was that as we went on, we sort of got our groove, and it would work fine.
Actually, that's telegraphing is the primary skill I'm trying to work on in all this. So I'd love to hear those moments from you because it's actually super helpful for me getting better at those things to know what some of those were. Also, some of it's that I'm improvising it out and don't have as many notes. So what would have been? What are some of those moments or beats that would have been more helpful for you?
Well, I did find like and maybe I don't know whether I'm stepping on Diogo's toes here, but the first encounter with the leeches was quite it felt abruptly like the reaction to it was it didn't feel like there were many options to react to it.
Yeah, like I did the slither over the foot, gave a pause, but didn't necessarily say, oh, like now you feel like the next person feels a slither over their foot or whatever, like giving people more time, or is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, I guess. But again, because
I thought it was like a sudden, like I didn't see it coming, I guess. Yeah, but
and in a way that's part of like I guess that's part of the push and pull of the design of old school stuff is that a lot of it does rest, especially with the light of the rule set. A lot of it does rest in the sort of skill of the group and the ability of the group to communicate with each other. But it is a culture, so I mean, the rulings not rule thing is about getting a good table culture.
Right.
So the more a group sort of games together, the better, the more smoothly a groove that this forms. Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know. That was just a thought I had.
No, that's super helpful. Yeah, that one felt really abrupt to me. Like even after the fact, I was like, and I looked at the damage, and I probably should have just been like, it does a damage, because I feel like part of it's like also the Stark. Like I had no warning and I lost half my health. That's a lot, right? Like as opposed to like a ding. The one of the other challenges is this. The dark sewers are outlined not only by the darkness of the room, but like the stillness of the water. So normally swirling water or other things would have been more of a part of the telegraphing. For this one, it's there's a pullback on that a little bit because it's harder to see some of those things. But that could have been better established probably beforehand.
Yeah, the good thing about it that it puts like pressure right off the bat. So okay, we have to pay attention to this because
I didn't
can lead to some screw up. Yeah.
I don't know whether Diogo you felt this way, but I felt that the severity wasn't the problem. It wasn't like I lost half my health, because that's what often happens in like sort of old school games.
Yeah.
But also it occurs, I had an observation about, you were right in that the sort of generated improvised nature of the dungeon sometimes does create this sort of like situations where they're just combinations of particular adjectives which actually make certain situations difficult to telegraph. From a design, like from a game running perspective.
Right.
Yeah. And that's just a feature, a built-in feature of the random generated dungeon, I feel.
I also feel like I wanted to give Diogo a chance to react, and I think something I need to get better about. And I was actually, Chris Manell is doing a blog for Down We Go, like weekly play that they're doing. And I'll link to that in the description later. But I think in that time, actually, Down We Go very much would have allowed me to be like, Diogo, what tells you that Urda's in trouble right now from something beneath the water? Like I could have directly, like if I don't know how to telegraph it, I'm actually not stuck as the GM in that position. As a GM, I still oftentimes feel trapped in that because I'm not used to just the total team brewing openness of DWG, where I can be like, how do you know that your character is in danger from something beneath the water? And just asking Diogo, because then, even though I'm not necessarily narratively telegraphing that, the player now knows something's about to happen. They can speak into the telegraphing of it, which then can become part of the canon of what's happening. Right. And I need to lean on that a lot more probably in some of those situations, because I felt a lot of hesitation in that moment to just have the creature act, right? Like it was challenging for me to do, but I was like, stream and everything else, I'm still like, I'm okay, they attack, right? And so
that thing you, so the rule set does mandate a sort of like a group creation.
Yeah,
I noticed, because later in the session that you asked Sam, like, you asked, was it Sam or Diogo, like, what are these creatures and who are they, and the smugglers.
Yeah, I asked Sam what they looked like as they walked by. I let Diogo say, what is the thing you want to reach up and grab? Like, that's fine. Like there's smugglers, there's tons of stuff in here. Like you tell me something your character would be excited about. Like it does leave the openness for that. Like there is the random like rolling, and if you roll lower, I might not have opened that up for Diogo. Like, but on a 6, it's like, yeah, what do you want? Like, like otherwise it might have been like, yeah, you find a bunch of cloth in this, right? Or whatever it happens to be. But there is a lot of that team brewing building aspect of the game that's available, but it is a shift even from old school thinking to be like, GM control is very diffused here into almost an FKR space of like, you can 100% open this up to just being like, tell me, right? And even where we've got Sam Mendez, Floating Chair Club, is working on solo rules, which essentially opens up GM-less play also. So if like 4 people want to sit down and be like roll on the Oracle table to get insight into what it is, you'll be 100% able to just team brew with no GM if you want to, which will be really cool to watch once it's there. Yeah, no, that beat fell off to me also too. So that 100% tracks. And so, yeah, but I said it yesterday. I said it before. Telegraphing is like one of the big areas I need to work on. And down we go. I love the ability to just be like, hey, you like, tell me how you know you're in danger, right?
Yeah.
And being able to default to that, I think, is really nice. And so,
That's really cool. Yeah.
Diogo,
I
tell
didn't
us,
thought about that, yeah.
tell people who you are, what you do, and what your experience was like playing.
Oh, hi. I am Diogo Nogueira. I'm from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, and I write games and making arts. And I just want to go the Annie Awards for Best Adventure for Old School Essentials.
Woo!
With House of the Blood King. Thank you. And I had a blast playing this. And as Zedeck said, I sometimes just missed some of the like they're like passages. So can we see anything distinguishing from the passages? And sometimes there was nothing. So sometimes felt like could be like a random pick for where we should go. But otherwise it was great. I loved how everyone like gave something that shaped the adventure or what was going on or what we're facing and experiencing, and that was really cool to explore this together. And no one really knew what the hell was going on, and we were all playing together. So I love that of the game. Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Any other thoughts or questions that you have?
No. That's great. And if you want to find me, I'm on Twitter at Diogo_oldschool, and same thing on Twitter, same thing on Instagram. I always post about various games and I'm into and things that I get my hands on and that I'm excited about. And on Facebook, I post stuff there too. And I'm always posting stuff that I'm working on, such as Cosmosaurs, which would be like a Space Dinosaur Rangers RPG, like with a very minimalistic Forge in the Dark system. And we're about to release War of the Magi, which is a supplement for Dark Streets and Darker Secrets, which is my urban fantasy and horror RPG that's focused on various like clans and factions of sorcerers in an upcoming war on the supernatural side of the world.
Damn.
And there's like the New Inquisition, and there is something happening in the world, and putting conflicts on all sides, and intrigue and this kind of stuff. In a new magic system that is levelless, and you just combine words, and it's kind of Highlander because you can steal words of power from another sorcerer if you kill them, and you drain their arcane energies.
We need to have you come back and play it on stream sometime soon with all of us, because I always love getting to sit down and have you run games for us. So awesome, looking forward to it. BJ, tell people who you are, what you do, and what it was like to play Down We Go.
All right, my name is Bugo Juice, and I am one of the contributors for the Islands of Sinauna. I also really enjoy writing system agnostic adventures. I have one Kakamania, which is out now, although I'm currently editing that for a modified release. I also have an adventure coming up for Ark, a role-playing game by Momentos. So that's interesting. Check that out. I like Ark because it's a good combination of like OSR elements and story elements
I love
blend
Ark
together. Yeah. I may be biased, but I really think it's a good system. So about the game, I actually don't get to be a player too much. So I really, really, really love the opportunity to be a player once again after quite some time. So that's most of where my enjoyment has come from. The whole being forced to go cold turkey by people who want me to be the GM. So I'm like, finally, I get to be a player. So it was a lot of fun. I think one thing that I will note is that the main difficulty that I've had today is with the encounters with the rats, I think. Because it was at that moment where I'm like, what do I do with a bunch of rats? Because I guess it's because in my mentality, I was like, most of the things that I will do will probably like hit one rat.
Right.
And it took me a while when Zedeck made an attack that took out like 2 or 3 rats at the same time. And I was like, oh, okay. So the thing that I will do will not necessarily just affect the one rat, and instead it's kind of hard. Maybe it's me thinking in terms of game rules, where in most games it's like you're attacking 1-to-1, and I'm like, why don't I have an area of effect spell? It's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
this kind of the mindset that I went into, which I think is also my fault. But
That's the first time I've thrown
it's
it's the first time I've thrown a swarm of anything into a game, because it's listed as a swarm of rats, right? And there's no explicit swarm rules, but in my mind, like, yeah, if it's a bunch of like large but normal size things, if ball bearing had
Tony, you went.
Yeah. It went mute again.
if ball bearing had run in and just been like, I'm gonna start stomping on rats, I would have been like, yeah, you're stomping on numerous rats at once, right? You're gonna be getting a couple of them each stomp, or you'll stomp a couple times and we'll make a roll to see, if that was, or if you had been like skewering them, like, or sweeping things across. Yeah, I mean, like, I think swarms are also always one of the most interesting things to try to deal with when you don't have, hey, I can cast Cone of Fire in this region that just covers all of them, and hopefully,
I was like,
hopefully
God,
it's
double
everything,
damage on swarms.
which Caltrop did, or Bellbearing did cast Column of Wall, up out of the ground, which was great. But yeah, I don't know that there's an easy solution to that, because even as a GM, it's a little weird to run. Like when you're thinking about, like, okay, now I'm controlling 20 things. Do I split them up? How do they work? What's their pool of health given the number of them? All that kind of stuff is always a weird thing, a weird headspace to think in.
There's always a kind of like the code switching that is involved between a rule set to another rule set is like changing languages.
Yeah.
So it's like you still know the dialect of your previous language when you go speak a new one. So there's that kind of.
I suppose it also like depends on the system. It's probably because also the systems that I have been running lately have been like more modern D&D, which really codes you into that mindset. But I think, like, for example, if I GM like a Fate game, for example, I inherently know that when I do something, it's against a group of people, it's attacking or interacting with it as an aspect that is singular, even though the description is plural.
Pluralized,
does that make sense?
Yeah. I love, like, as much as Fate is not my favorite system to run in, it's a system that always teaches me a ton when I run it, and especially for the narrative aspects